It's true. Omega cell is one of a kind. It's a natural, powerful joint.
Carol, good morning. Yes, good rainy morning. We've been waiting for this rain for a while. Point Commander Sharon, good morning. Sharon Williams, morning. Candice Leah, Adriana Alexis, Anton Batiste, morning. Alison Rogers, morning. Morning, Diane. I hope I don't have any audio problems this morning because that rain coming on a bit heavy at times. But good morning to His Excellency Nigel O'Connor, President of Pleasantville, and good morning to Mercer as well. Anton Batiste, morning. Annette Bear, Gemma Alexander, Maynard Lazari, good morning. Talika, morning. Ruth Fronten. Alison Samuel, morning, Alison. See David Clark, TJ Hubert, morning, Debbie Markey, morning, Debbie. Right, so Alison is saying Facebook is loud and clear. That's great, great, great. I expect to see some new names popping up because I see a lot of UNC supporters are following the page. Interesting, as the various posts by the various administrators are being shared. Seems that it's reaching the UNC heartland, and yeah, so they're engaging the page, joining the page. I imagine we probably have some new viewers this morning. So welcome to them. Keep it respectful now, because let me tell you something. The admins on this page, they trigger happier. So the time you step out your lane and you get disrespectful, you will be blocked immediately. Not that I have a problem engaging you guys, because from since the Street 919 FM. Yeah, Carol, I was in Jamaica for a week. I went to attend a board meeting of a regional association that I'm on, and then we had a 3-day conference which ended on Wednesday. Morning, Jen. Neil Francois, morning. Don Joseph, Kurt Douglas, Marva James, morning. Yeah, so I was there for a week. My first time in Jamaica, and I must say I was pleasantly surprised. Jamaica is a very mountainous country from the time that you land. And the conference, we were based in Montego Bay, so that's on the north coast of the northern side of Jamaica. So it was about with traffic, a 3.5 hour drive from Kingston to Montego Bay. Very scenic view, I must say. But we could definitely learn a thing or two about how to promote our tourism product in Trinidad from Jamaica, because a lot of the tourist attractions that they have, for instance, we went to Don River Falls on Wednesday, which is one of their main tourist attractions, and it cost 25 US for tourists to go into the facility and to hike up the falls. And there's also a cost for Jamaicans as well, notwithstanding the fact that it's a natural attraction. And they also have the Rose Hall Great House, which is kind of similar to, let's say, President's House in Trinidad. So they have the Great House on the grounds. It's a heritage site. But they charge 25 US as well to tour the house and the grounds. Meanwhile, in Trinidad, these things are free. You have the magnificent savannah around the savannah. You could just walk into Millfield and speak to the security, and you could get a tour of the facility free of charge. You could go into Stallmeyer's Castle, also known as Kelani, free of charge again, no cost. But based on what I saw in Jamaica, it's possible to monetize these things. So I know the National Trust is in the process of putting together a tour of that nature, because the new president, Christine Gangaloo, would have asked us to, the National Trust that is, to organize tours of President's House. So she wants to open up President's House to the public for you to come and tour it. And yeah, so well, the portion that is the public part, not the residential part. So you could go into President's House, but there are certain areas that would be off limits. And so she wants to open it up to the public to be able to come and tour the grounds and tour the facilities and so on. But she's insistent there must be no entry fee, no cost, no charge to the citizens. So, but of course, you have to expend resources in order to facilitate a tour like that. So the intention is to put together a package which would include a tour of the Magnificent Seven, Magnificent Seven, the Magnificent Six, because Rumo, or Amber's house, which is the big white house between Millfield and the Catholic Archbishop's house, that one is private because it's actually still, persons actually live in that house. So we would need to, and they are our direct neighbors, so we would need to have a discussion with them as to whether or not they'd be willing to allow persons to come on the grounds, or if it would just be viewed perhaps in just the front yard. So included in that tour, toying with the idea as well, would be the Botanic Gardens, the cemetery at the Botanic Gardens, where the last Governor General, Sir Solomon Hochoy, is buried, along with his wife and others, and perhaps even Pishi's cemetery in the Savannah as well. So it will be a comprehensive tour, and we're trying to incorporate as well the Red House into that tour. So you probably start at the Red House, you get the full tour of the Red House, and then you proceed around the Savannah, Magnificent Seven, cemeteries, Botanic Gardens, and then President's House. Yeah, so yeah, but as I said, these things in Trinidad are free. We go to the waterfalls, but in Jamaica you have to pay. Yeah, 25 US and up. A full tour of the Rose Hall Great House and a tour of the gardens is actually 99 US dollars. So they are making money off of their natural, their heritage sites. So it's perhaps something that we can look at or look into as well. Yes, and Tessa is saying when you travel, you have to pay for everything. Yeah, but we take it for granted in Trinidad here that these things are free, and you could just jump in your car, jump in your maxi, and go. You know, so like for instance, Coral River, which we take for granted, the state has to spend money to upkeep these places. But in Jamaica, a facility like that, like Coral River and so on, they would set it up so that you have to pay to use the facilities. But you know, as I said. But one of the things I noted in Jamaica when we were coming back from Don River Falls and we were heading back to the resort, when we approached what is called Discovery Bay, and you looked out on the horizon, you saw a whole lineup of cruise ships. I don't know if they were coming in or if they were leaving, because when we were heading to the falls, there were 2 cruise ships in port. When we were heading back, about 3 of them you see line off on the horizon. And it occurred to me, last year, Jamaica had 1,498 murders, a record for that country. 1,498. But notwithstanding that fact, you don't see Jamaicans doing like what Trinidadians, or some Trinidadians are doing, those who claim that they love the country and they want what's good and what's best for the country. Going on social media and putting out posts and comments under certain posts. So if you see a post that promoting something in Trinidad and talk about the cruise ships coming in. Anytime you see a story from a newspaper or a television outlet talking about during the cruise ship season that this cruise ship came and so on. And there are lots of comments from so-called patriots, citizens of this country, putting comments like, we hope you walk with your bulletproof vest. What are you coming here for? You want to get killed? Don't come to Trinidad and Tobago here because you're unlikely to go back. Trinidadians, right? They want what's best for the country. They want the country to earn foreign exchange. But you go on social media and promote that stupidness, telling foreigners don't come here. because we have a crime problem. But the crime problem in Jamaica is infinitely worse, right? They had 2.5 times the number of murders that we had last year. But you're not seeing their citizens going on social media and telling people, don't come to Jamaica because you could get killed. And don't come to Jamaica because you will get robbed. And don't come to Jamaica because of this and that. But in Trinidad, you have citizens who are proud to demonstrate the extent of their abject stupidity to go on social media and post that kind of thing, right? And that is why Jamaica is enjoying the type of tourism that they are. Because notwithstanding that issue of crime, which is worse than that of Trinidad, they are proud of their country. They continue to promote their country. They continue to encourage people to come to their country. Even with tourists having to pay to go to certain facilities, as I just mentioned to you, they're still coming in droves, line up for cruise ships and spending the money in Jamaica, right? Jamaica making that money. If you go to downtown Kingston, can't compare to Port of Spain. I mean, no disrespect to any Jamaicans, but there are certain parts of downtown Kingston that really look like, a shanty town. If it's looking, there are certain parts, I mean, they have some high-rise buildings, but again, these buildings look dated as compared to Trinidad and Tobago, where we have more modern buildings, and our capital city, in large measure, certainly looks a lot more modern than Kingston. But yet still, you have the tourists going there, and the tourists are not coming ready to see the tall buildings and so on. But I make the point that Trinidad and Tobago, that we have a lot to be proud of when we look at our capital city and other parts of the country, right? That bears marked likeness to what a true metropolitan city is supposed to look like. All of which we credit to the PNM. I know the UNC listeners wouldn't like that, but the waterfront was constructed by the PNM. Yeah, how many times I've seen persons post up videos and they give you at a certain angle down by the waterfront there and they say, I'm New York, a snippet of Manhattan, right? When you look at the buildings and you realize at first glance you really think it's Manhattan, but it's Port of Spain. Things that we should be proud of. But again, government campus, PNM, and Napa, PNM, right? The restoration of the Magnificent Seven, PNM, where we are able to marry heritage, built heritage, with more modern structures. And we were able to marry the two successfully to create a beautiful Port of Spain. Yes, there's some work that could be done, but we as citizens have a responsibility to assist in making sure that the capital city looks clean. But when it is that you drink your whatever and you throw the bottle on the side of the road, you throw your wrappers because you think it's just one or two, so it doesn't make no big difference. It's not a problem. We talk that talk, right? But we love Trinidad and Tobago so much. But you're not promoting it in the way that the Jamaicans are promoting their country. Yeah? Not promoting it that way at all. Not too far from the resort where I stayed, I saw sandals. I took an opportunity to, just take a little quick peep to see what it is that Trinidad and Tobago lost out on. And as I would have mentioned to you all last Sunday, one of the reasons or one of the excuses that was proffered by the opposition, the UNC and the PDP at that time as to why Sandals wasn't a good idea is because it's an all-inclusive resort. And when people come to Sandals in Tobago, if we had a Sandals in Tobago, other Caribbean countries, they have 2 and 3. We have none, right? And that would have boosted tourism in Tobago, which they're trying to do now, such that the Chief Secretary and the Secretary for Tourism and whoever, every Monday morning, they're on a plane all over the world, so they promote in Tobago. But all right, no problem. But I caught a glimpse of what we lost out on. And I was making the point that one of the excuses they gave as to why Sandals wouldn't work and why it wouldn't benefit Tobago and by extension Trinidad is that when tourists come to Sandals, because it's an all-inclusive resort, there is no need for them to leave the resort. So they come there for a week or 2 weeks or whatever, and they will just stay on the grounds of the resort because there's everything inside it. I stayed at an all-inclusive resort. And after the second or third day, I was bored and I was ready to go outside and see what Jamaica had to offer, right? I had everything I needed inside, all the food that you could want. Well, I don't drink alcohol, but for those who do, you had everything you want. 5 different restaurants on the property, so whatever is your culinary fare, you could have gone and had that. If you want to drink whole day and whole night, and you could have do that too. They had water park facilities, golf course, everything that you could have done. But people were anxious to leave and go outside and see some of the tourist sites, River Rapids, the Rose Hall Great House, the Green Grotto Caves and all of these different things that they offered us to do. People wanted to go out and get souvenirs and little trinkets to take back home to their respective countries because it was a regional conference. So you had persons from across the Caribbean region coming into Jamaica, right? That's the cost of that conference alone at that facility. It cost the association almost 700,000 US to accommodate almost 400 people from across the Caribbean. So for that 4-day period or 4 to 5 day period, that one hotel, one resort in Jamaica made over 700,000 US dollars from just one association, from one entity. And these are the things that we could have benefited from in Trinidad if we had, or in Tobago, if we had an all-inclusive resort, right? 700,000 plus US dollars. And while we were there, there was another association, the International Air Traffic Controllers Association. They too had a meeting there, right, when we came in. So that's more money. So they probably make well over $1 million US dollars in the space of about 5 days, all-inclusive resort. Yeah, the buses that would have taken us from, what is going on here? Let me see this. First, give me 1 sec. I don't know what's happening with YouTube. Okay, right, yeah. Thanks, I just got a little worried. Yeah, the tour buses that took us up from the airport, they made money to the tour company in association with the resort and all of that. We could have been making that money. But you know what now? No sales. Because we're about transparency and we need to see the memorandum of understanding. They want to use no man's land and all that. Half of them who talking that never went to Tobago in their life. And some of them, 50, 60 something years old, never went to Tobago. But they have plenty to say about no man's land. And the government want to do this, and the government want to do that. And PDP say, when we come in power, we will invite you back. Has that happened? They're all over the world. Germany, UK, even in Jamaica. Right now, I see the latest joint is to Barbados to try and see if it is that they could encourage Bajan citizens to come to Tobago for vacation. Really? So, let's see. So, let me just see something here. Right. Yeah. So, so they were about transparency and so on. And right. But anyway, they're not ready for that conversation. So I don't see Watson talking about that anymore, and I haven't really seen anything with Farley, Faith, or any one of them to share approaching Sandals to say, all right, we in charge now. Come back. Come to Tobago and negotiate with us, and we will organize you and fix you up. But anyway. Right. So that was Jamaica, and I really thought I would put that in the mix there, right? Because I see Jamaica is on target to have yet another year of record meters, but again, that isn't stopping the tourists from coming to Jamaica. I also saw last week that it was announced that the Jamaican Parliament increased their salaries, where the Prime Minister's salary has now gone from 9.1 million Jamaican dollars a year to about 26 or 27 million Jamaican dollars a year. Even the opposition leader's salary has gone from, I think, 8 or 7 million Jamaican dollars a year up to some few 20-something millions as well. Jamaica having a hard time going from place to place, seeking to sell this salary increase. So in the face of 1,500 murders last year, the Parliament has given itself a pay raise, significant pay raise. In some cases, 200% and 300% pay raise, right? In Trinidad, we had just over 600 murders last year. Parliamentarians aren't giving themselves a pay raise. But Trinidad is the worst thing, and Quito is a dictator, and the PNM government is the worst government out. And, right, okay. I just thought I would throw that into the mix too, right? Because remember, Trinidad and Tobago is not a real place. And it's only here these aberrations is happening, not anywhere else. Because apparently we're supposed to be living in Kamala's dome, and everything in Trinidad and Tobago is supposed to be perfect. Perfect. There are two things I wanted to read for you guys, right? Because before I get into the whole election business, and local election and all of that. So let me see here. One of the claims that the UNC loves to make is that under this PNM administration for the last 8 years, there's been no foreign direct investment coming into Trinidad. And in fact, foreign direct investment is negative. And when we were in office between 2010 to 2015, was foreign direct investment, how much hundreds of millions of dollars in foreign direct investment. Where there was an article in Newsday, yesterday's Newsday, which read, 10 Chinese companies to boost employment in Cuba. 10. Beijing Construction Engineering Group is promising to create thousands of new jobs as 10 Chinese companies are scheduled to start operations at the Point Lisas Industrial Estate. General Manager Zhao Qian said proposed investments would improve the quality of life and well-being of residents during a ceremony to donate 10 concrete benches to the Cuba Tabaqui Telpara Regional Corporation on May 17th. Chairman of the corporation, Henry Awong, accepted the gifts. Here were Henry Awong, UNC chairman of the Cuba Tabaqui Telpara Regional Corporation. I came from China at this time to pay a special to chairman of PCEG to thank you for your support for the Phoenix Park Industrial Estate project undertaken by us in Cuba and to convey to you the warmest greetings from China. This is China talking to UNC Corporation. Kang said the benches were an expression of their gratitude and with the hope it would help to beautify the community and be appreciated and enjoyed by the users. I know CTTRC is the third largest of TT's 14 regions. So they know plenty about the Cuba Tabaqui Telpara Regional Corporation, right? So it says to me that the head of this, or the officials of this Chinese construction company have been having discussions for a while with the Cuba Tabaqui Telpara Regional Corporation. Why I keep stressing that is because the supporters of the UNC love to talk about how this government sell out the country to China. Always talking at the pitch lake, they sell out the pitch lake. The only, in all of my research that I've been able to do, the only reference I see of there being any sort of between government and China with respect to the Labre pitch lake would have taken place in 2013 when the People's Partnership government would have entered into, I think at first it was a 3-year lease agreement with, well, not lease really, but agreement and arrangement to provide asphalt to China for the purpose of paving the Chinese airport and that sort of thing, right? I have seen no arrangements. Maybe it's there some, but I highly doubt it. So this thing that they like to talk about the government that Rowley and them sell the pitch lake to the Chinese and and all of that. Ask them where will you see that? Other than the propaganda mill of kick out the PNM and Douglaya politics, the underground report, those three, Dumb, Dumber, and Dotish. Where else? Where is it? Where can I find any article that points to any such arrangement between this PNM administration and the Chinese? But you see, all they like to yap all them out and talk that nonsense, to spread information, propaganda, without doing any proper research into that. No research is done. But you're running with that stupidness and can't find that nowhere. The pitch lake, and let me say this, the pitch lake, and I can say this with authority from the perspective of the National Trust. The Labre pitch lake, Lake Asphalt, is a national heritage site. You cannot sell a heritage site. You cannot lease a heritage site. There's a reason why it has been designated a heritage site. And let me go further to tell you. If it is that you own a property, right? And let's say a property that is unique because it's an old house or something from way back when in the early 1900s or so, as the case may be. And the trust is of the view that your property ought to be designated a heritage site. We could do that, right? And we would prepare the dossier and so on for the property, and we would inform you of the process that is taking place, that your property has been designated as a heritage site because of the historical value and so on, notwithstanding the fact that you are the owner. Once it is that your property is designated as the heritage site, if you are in objection to that, you can appeal it to the Prime Minister. As we have seen, we've had properties like that have been designated heritage sites, and that designation basically means that you cannot alter You can't sell it. Well, you could sell the property, but there could be no alterations to it, right? So the external facade must remain the same. You can't make any changes to it because that is what constitutes. You can't tear it down and all of these different things. And we've had instances where persons have appealed to the Prime Minister and the Prime Minister rejected the appeal. And the properties have been listed as heritage sites. The pitch lake is a heritage site, you cannot sell it. You cannot sell that. Natural heritage cannot be sold. So I don't know where you UNC supporters get this brutish talk about the government sell the pitch lake and all of that. But you all need to stop it because it really reinforces when we call you all dunce. That is what it does. It reinforces that. So unless you all have some sort of agreement signed by the government and of Trinidad to be one the government of China sell the pitch lake, which is absolutely absurd. I mean, I wonder, do you all even sit down and think about this making any sense, boy, before you come and post that rubbish and realize how foolish it makes you look? But any government, even if it wasn't a heritage site, do you think any government would dare to sell the pitch lake? Really? How are they going about doing that? What would be the value? Who did the valuation for the pitch lake to say it would this or it would that? None of these things you all think about, but you just come and we share that and want to comment that stupidness, that arseninity, and you feel you're looking bright. And meanwhile, those of us who in the know just watching and shaking our head and going, nah, boy. Seriously? And it was the sad part. Well, you could vote. You all have the right to vote. What is the basis on which you all vote when you go to the polls? Always accusing PNM supporters of voting race. What is the basis? I mean, that is what you all go to the polls and vote on? Propaganda? Wouldn't even do a simple search? I'll give you all an example. I'm going through Facebook this morning and I saw one of my friends, professional individual, right? Very intelligent, shares a post with a video of a woman in a wheelchair who is suffering from some sort of muscular disease or ailment that has rendered her paralyzed. And she's going to her son's wedding, apparently. She's in the wheelchair, unable to move. And these three young men approach her, I think, her sons, and the one who is the groom picks her up off of the chair to dance with her for a little bit and so on. But she bears some resemblance, a slight resemblance to Celine Dion. And so my friend shares this because the caption states that Celine Dion attending her son's wedding and, she's paralyzed and whatnot. I'm saying, but so I look at it and I say, okay, there's some resemblance there to Celine Dion. But how come the story hasn't made its way in mainstream media? Because when I look at the media house that is publishing this, I'm saying, but this is not a known media house. Why haven't we seen this on CNN, on MSNBC, on all the various websites and so on? Because this is something big, given who Celine Dion is. So I decided, you know what? Let me go and Google this to see if this is true. Because I know Celine Dion was, in fact, diagnosed with some sort of ailment. But I'm saying I didn't realize it degenerated so quickly. And I go and I type in Google Celine Dion in wheelchair at son's wedding. And of course, all of the hits start coming up saying that is not true. Have you seen this video claiming that Celine Dion is in a wheelchair going to her son's wedding and it is fake, and they give you the whole story as to who the person is and all of that? And I'm saying all she had to do, my friend Nathis, was to do what I did. Before you share it, Google it. You have a number of search engines. You could have gone into it and checked it and you would have seen. Right? Nothing of the sort. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't do that, but you share it. And when I look at the bottom, at least other people shared it. And I'm sure she would have gotten it from somebody else who shared it. And nobody thought to take the time to go and check and see if this is true before I share it. And that is the problem that we face in this country, right? In respect to the politics. You have all kind of information out there that could be easily fact-checked and proven to be untrue. But because so many of us are intellectually lazy, we wouldn't take the time to just fact-check before you share it. And you're putting all of this nonsense out there, knowing full well that you have gullible people in this country who are too lazy to go and do the research themselves to see if there's any truth to these things. Right? They wouldn't go and check to see if there's any truth there. They just share it. Which is why I always get very upset when my friends send me nonsense on Facebook. Not Facebook, sorry, on WhatsApp. And telling me what you think about this. And comment. There's nothing for me to comment on. If it is that because I know just at looking at the headlines, this is rubbish, stop sending me nonsense. Do send me rubbish and ask me to comment on it. Because I will not hesitate to tell you something. Right? I've had to block people for that stupid. And see if you're going to continue to send me this nonsense. Because every time you send it to me, I have to now send you the proof and what the truth is. You're wasting my time. You could do it for yourself. But we have this propaganda machinery. I didn't want to go there, but I will touch on it. Because I'm still reading the article here. But before I get back to that, right? The issue of the Privy Council decision with respect to the UNC's lawsuit concerning the local government election. And that judgment came out on Thursday, and the UNC all over the place making a thing about it. I saw the chairman of the content committee for the PNM social media committee. He shared, what he did was to repost or reshare an article on the thing and put a short comment on it, some sharpness, or the UNC racist and evil and whatever it is. But for the last 2 days or 3 days, he hasn't had the time to get any proper analysis on the issue and share anything of substance. But all you're doing is posting 2-liner jokes on your Facebook page, right? And you're getting 2 likes, 1 like. The comments have stopped. You have plenty time to share that nonsense. But you don't have time to go and do research on all the propaganda that the UNC is sharing, right? To debunk that. You don't have time for that. But you have time every 2 minutes or every 5 minutes to be posting these dotish, stupid, lame jokes, right? And I ask the question, how is that helping the party? How? Clearly you have time on your hands. Because if you see it fit to be posting that stupidness, not one joke funny, right? But you had time for that. But to do the job for which you were appointed, you ain't had time for that. But I didn't want to go down there, but I thought I would mention it, right? Dean, visit his Facebook page and see what they're talking about. See what they're talking about. But anyway, that's my business. I go on. I continue to read the article. I know the Cuba Tabaqui Talparo Regional Corporation is the 3rd largest of the Trinidad and Tobago's 14 regions and the 2nd most populous region. So the Chinese have plenty of information. The Cuba Tabaqui Talparo Regional Corporation has been aiming to improve the lives of residents through providing employment and empowering communities, and we will definitely contribute to such goals. We are now bringing in at least 10 Chinese enterprises to establish their businesses here in the industrial estate, which will definitely create thousands of work opportunities. Kang said in the 32 countries around the world, the state-owned company operates. They actively fulfill their social responsibility while promoting infrastructure, construction, and development. In thanking the Chinese group for its gesture, Awang said the benches will be placed at recreation grounds and play parks in the Cuba district. He said he values the relationship developed between the CTTRC and BCEG and commended Kiang for the Phoenix Park project. This is Henry Awang, chairman of the UNC Corporation, praising the Chinese, right? And the positive impact that it has had on the local economic development in the region. He goes on to say that the construction stage has been completed. Awang said he was looking forward to employment opportunities when the estate goes into operation. And we are fortunate to be chosen as the first region in the Caribbean for such a project to be undertaken by BCEG and look forward to future collaborations, Awang said. He's looking for future collaborations with this Chinese company. But his supporters, the supporters of his party, all they could do is to gripe and complain that, the government selling out Trinidad and Tobago to the Chinese. But he's welcoming this investment in his corporation, right? The Cuba Tabaqui Talparo Regional Corporation. But they love to jump up on the Monday Night Forum platform and say, no foreign direct investment. Nobody don't want to invest in Trinidad and Tobago. But here it is that this gentleman is saying that they are bringing at least 10 Chinese manufacturing companies. At least 10. How does that benefit the country? Aside from the employment side of it, it's going to boost the country's GDP, right? Gross domestic, which is essentially the value of all goods and services produced within our domestic borders, regardless to the fact that the owners of the factors of production are foreign. Because it's produced within the borders of Trinidad and Tobago, it will factor into our GDP, which is going to go up, right? So, debt to GDP, as the GDP goes up, the debt to GDP ratio is going to go down. That is not good news for the UNC, right? They can't talk that talk anymore. That the debt to GDP ratio is so high and they can't talk that talk. So they're not going to be promoting this. Yeah? Remember when it is that this government was promoting the Phoenix Park industrial estate? What they were saying? All spending money to build a next estate, and look at all they have Point Lisa's estate like a cemetery. All the companies packing up and leaving. And it's just a scrapyard in Point Lisa. So why it is all they want to build another industrial park and another industrial estate? At least 10 Chinese companies they bring in addition to the others that are already there. Mr. Manning, the visionary that he was, used to say, build it and they will come. Build it and they will come. And the Rowley administration has built it and they are coming in their numbers. And they bring in capital. They bring in money. They're creating employment. But not only that, because when it's manufacturing companies that are setting up there, of course, they are going to export the manufactured goods from Trinidad and Tobago. So we will also benefit from taxes. And there's also the foreign exchange element. Because when these Chinese companies earn money in US, in order for them to satisfy their local obligations, financial obligations, they will have to convert some of this US that they are earning into TT dollars to be able to pay staff, to pay salaries, to pay their utilities, and all of this, which means foreign exchange coming into the local banking system. Right? And the more they come, there's more incentive for the government to expand. But of course, the only comment you will hear from supporters of the UNC and this, you see, they're only selling out the country to the Chinese, and you see what's going on in Libya, and you see what's going on in Sri Lanka, and what's going on in Pakistan, and them Chinese. Nothing good they could say about it. But you know, if it was their party in power, and their party had done that, round of applause. Yeah, you see, look how Kamala developing the country, foreign direct investment. But they have nothing good to say about this. You think you will hear them talk about this on the Monday Night Forum? Huh? No, they wouldn't. You think this Sunday morning waste a time press conference where they get 1/3 and 1/2 of a question? You feel they will hear them talk about this and see that this is good news? Well, Awong said it. UNC chairman of the Kuva Tabaki Talparo Regional Corporation, Henry Awong, is praising. He didn't praise the government. You see who he praised it? But it's the government that built it to facilitate the Chinese to be able to come and set up shop here, the manufacturing business here, and they could launch from here through the region and the Americas. Or they choose Trinidad and Tobago. They didn't run to Guyana to do it. We'd have all the oil and gas now. Guyana booming. Yeah, they didn't go to Guyana to set up shop. They came to Guyana. But I won't praise them. You wouldn't say yes, praise. Let's applaud the Keith Rowley administration for the foresight of shopping this facility to be able to attract foreign direct investment. No, we will just praise the Chinese company for what they are doing for creating the jobs. Because how I could do that? I can't praise Rowley and them. Rowley's a dictator. The PNM are doing nothing. Right? But those of us who know, where they say IYK, if you know, you know. We will give them the praises that they deserve, even if all your hypocrites and so-called patriots don't want to. Even if you all want to try and see how you could spin this in the worst of ways. You figure that by not acknowledging or recognizing the contribution that the government has made, that would make the contribution any less? No, it wouldn't. You feel I will stop the number of companies, Chinese companies that come here. We welcome them. Bring all your money and come. Set up shop. Create employment. And if the UNC supporters don't like it, that's a damn business. That is their business. Half of them, you're going to see them line up, running to get work in the same companies. The same companies, you will see them that it's always the government selling out to the Chinese. But as soon as employment notices go out, they line up in droves to get work there. But wouldn't talk about it, wouldn't promote it. But we will promote it here. There's another article I wanted to touch on, because you know they love to say, oh, the PNM don't do nothing for black people. And the PNM, all they according to Kamala, all they could offer their supporters is CPEP. Intergenerational transfer of poverty. That's how she described CPEP in 2006, 2007. But you came into office with 5,000 people working in CPEP, and when you left office, you had over 15,000. So you added an additional 10,000 persons to the list of intergenerational transfer of poverty. Your description of it, Kamala Persad-Pisesa. Yes, you described it as that, not me. It was so terrible, and you can't believe how a prime minister and a political leader could do that to his supporters. That's what she said. How could you do such a thing to your supporters? You don't care about it. And then you came in and increased it 300-fold. And yeah, it wasn't good in 2006, but you come in 4 years later, and it's the best thing in sliced bread, and you want to beat your chest. We created 50,000 jobs, 50,000, 10,000 of which was CPEP workers. A program started by the PNM. You created those jobs? How you did that? You gave contracts to the UNC and you will march from out. There's an article, again, Newsday, 2 days ago. East Port of Spain Development Company launches fourth construction skill cycle. The fourth cycle, East Port of Spain Development Company's Education to Production Construction Skills Training Program will see 130 people being trained in various skills which will enhance their communities. This number is an increase of 69% from the number enrolled in 2022, and they were chosen from 400 applicants. The program will be facilitated by MIC and the NESC Technical Institute, and participants will be trained over 7 months in carpentry, masonry, electrical installation, plumbing, welding, air conditioning and refrigeration, heavy equipment and operations, and industrial maintenance technology for appliances. Speaking at the launch of the cycle at the Government Campus Plaza, Richmond Street, Wednesday, Housing and Urban Development Minister Camille Robinson-Reggie said the increased intake was possible because the government recognized that personal and professional development is a major part in ensuring that TNT reaches developed nation status. In the last budget, the allocation for East Port of Spain was increased from 439,000 to 9 million for its social and economic programs. But I want to tell you, the government are offering East Port of Spain nothing. So they get some so-called PNM activists from up on that side to come and back talk the government and say that the government ain't doing nothing for East Dry River. From 439,000, the budget increased to 9 million for its social and economic programs. And this translates into opportunities for many more people to access training options free of charge. Free. You are equally deserving as taxpayers. You are equally as deserving of the taxpayers' money being expanded on this program as any other citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. And she said the investment was made so the participants could have the tools of a viable trade. We want you to learn the skills that will make you more marketable in the construction sector in the short term and more equipped and more confident to start your own business in the future. That way, you will then be in a position to employ others, achieving 2 goals in the process: weaning yourself from relying on the government, and 2, contributing to the growth and development of your communities. And Robinson-Reggie said, while some people are willing to label residents of the area as miscreants, the government sees them as citizens deserving of equal participation in the national economic space. Right? She goes on to say, Adrian Leons, Minister in the Ministry of Housing, Adrian Leons said each of the trainees had the opportunity to become a mentor and a change agent in their community. He said finding skilled people has been challenging. And there are challenges where there are people who claim to be skilled contractors, and when they produce a product, the end user is unable to use it because all they see is dollars and cents. And what I'm saying is develop the knowledge and skill and understand this is just one step. And you will have the potential to encourage the youngsters to move away from alternative lifestyles towards a lifestyle of self-sustainability, solving the problems that happen in our community, a lifestyle that can empower us and leave a legacy that our children can look up to and be proud of. So from 439,000 to 9 million in social development, and let me get the exact terminology that they put here, right? Where is it? But the UNC will talk about that. As the minister rightly said, because as far as they see, the citizens in that area, if you live in Beetham, Sealots, East Port of Spain, Nelson Street, Duncan Street, Bazelon Street, Bath Street, and all these different places, you're a miscreant, a cockroach, right? A menace to society, no damn good, that all you could do. The only thing that could come out from these areas is bandits and murderers. But here it is that the PNM government, what did come down offer them? Color me orange, $69 a day for 3 months to paint the buildings in the area. The buildings, some of these buildings that just need to be condemned, as this government is now doing, right? Which is demolishing these buildings to build more modern buildings so that the persons who live in these accommodations could have more modern living accommodations. Yeah. But as far as the UNC was concerned, let me sell it to them for what is $100. So they wanted to sell these apartments that this administration deemed in such terrible state that they need to go for more modern facilities. You want to sell it to them for $100 and take the responsibility away from HDC, from the management and the maintenance of these facilities, and put it strictly in the hands of the citizens. Or had they successfully done that, you realize the problems this government would have run into to be able to do what they're doing now, which is to revitalize that entire East Port of Spain area, right? To tear down these buildings that are how many years old, that are in a terrible state of disrepair, and fix them so that these persons could enjoy a proper standard of living similar to that exists throughout Trinidad and Tobago, which was the mindset, the thinking for Victoria Keys under the Patrick Manning administration when they constructed the HDC, the Victoria Keys apartments down there in Diego Martin, just behind Powder Magazine, right? So that the low-income citizen could afford to look out the balcony and get a sea view as well. Not just the people who live up on the hills in Goodwood Park, and the people who live on the hills in La Hoquette and Glencoe, right? Not only them, not only the people who live in the Renaissance Towers could have a sea view from their balcony, that the low-income citizen as well, who making small money, that he or she could be afforded similar status and enjoy the same thing that the wealthy, the people who live in just across the road, West Moorings and so on, and the towers, Siboney Towers, and who live in Bayside Towers and Bayshore, that when they get up in the morning with their coffee and they walk out on the balcony, they could look out and see the ferries coming in, and look out and see the cruise ship coming in, and rock back on your porch and say, yes, right, I reach. Mr. Manning wanted to afford low-income families that same facility. And what the UNC said, no, that's too good for them. What Manning thinking? What did they do? They increased the income limit, the ceiling, from $25,000 to $45,000 to qualify for an HDC home, so that their friends, family, and financiers would be able to qualify to go and live in those apartments. They changed over, right? They did over the whole scope of works. Turned 3-bedroom apartments into 2-bedroom apartments down there. Yeah, put in swimming pool, tennis court, covered parking, all of that. They put in there. So it's nice living. Security, put in lobby when you come inside there. You have to go by the security desk. You pull up by the security gate and so on, and you have to let them know which is you're coming to see, and they have to call up the person and let them know that so-and-so is here to see you before they allow you on the compound and all of that. That wasn't Mr. Manning's intent. Yeah? So now that has become an exclusive housing development. So properties there, an apartment there starting at 1.4 million, all the way up to the penthouse that costing $4.5 million. Again, that wasn't the intent. And had they won the election in 2015, they would have followed through on that. And you would have had a lot of all the doctor and lawyer and lawyer friend and whoever else living there. Unfortunately, when this administration came in, because of the amount of money that was expended and the change in the scope of works, as Dr. Rowley said, you could not, because of all of the things that they did, and then to maintain this facility, they had to put it out on the open market. They had to, because how you affording a $4 million penthouse on a low-income salary? The purpose of the Housing Development Corporation is to provide housing for low-income families. The UNC said, no, not down there. Forget that. Yeah? But they wanted to sell people in East Port of Spain hundreds for your apartment. And then we wash our hands of it. So if you have any issues, any problems with it after that, that is on you, because the HTC don't own it no more. Right? And if it falls to disrepair, if it leaking problems, don't call us. You own it. Your name is on the deed. You find the money to fix it for yourself. And they thought they were doing something good. So Colony Orange, $69 a day for 3 months. So what happened after that 3 months? Well, make sure you save your money in that 3 months, because we don't know what else you could get. Baby grant, yeah, that day. So if you want to, after the 3 months, make child and collect $500 a month to buy milk and Pampers, we could facilitate you that. You want a CPEP work, we could get you that. But here it is that the People's National Movement, under the leadership of Keith Christopher Rowley, is providing free of charge training in, and let me call those areas again, right? For those of you who went to your fridge to get a red shandy, and in case you didn't hear, where is it? The program will be facilitated by MIC, Institute of Technology, and NESC Technical Institute, and participants will be trained over 7 months in carpentry, masonry, electrical installation, plumbing, welding, air conditioning and refrigeration, heavy equipment and operations, and industrial maintenance technology for appliances. All those facilities. Take your pick. 130 young people, and this is the fourth cycle. The fourth, so there were 3 cycles before this. They're always talking about them two Saturday afternoon on 91.9. Oh, they want to get the poor people and black people contract. Get them contract to build box drain. You get them contract to build box drain, but they don't have the skills to build a box drain. Get them contract. They don't know how to even do a RFP. They don't know how to tender, right? No skills in that. They don't have a business setup because and they fail to understand, right? But you see, that's the problem. They will push that stupid talk, that dirty talk about them how much years them people voting for PNM and what the PNM doing for them, nothing. It's only the big shot and them and the 1% getting all of the contract, but they ain't gonna get them little black boy and them behind the bridge of contract. The law requires them to have a registered business because to ensure that they pay their statutory duties. Understand? That if it is they get contract, they're required to pay taxes and they have other duties that they need to pay. The NIS and all of these different things. So you need to make sure that all of these things are in a gear. Get them contract without the requisite skills required to execute the contract. Right? So they advocating, put the horse before the cart. PNM say, no, we will put the horse, right? Cart there. Let us give them the training first. Give them the training. So now they have the skills to be able to apply for the contract and actually execute the contract and provide a quality product rather than they just pick up a few fellas on the road who they probably in construction and so they know how to pull a line, they know how to mix some cement and put on some bricks and you figure, yes. And that makes them qualified to get them a contract for 500,000 and $1 million and 1.5 and $2 million. This administration recognizes, and this is for East Port of Spain residents, to benefit, to improve their skills. So all who want to sit down, who want to smoke weed, right? And who don't want to go and work in the factory, and who don't want to go and work security because they say they dog money and they have to be working late hours and supervisor want to be talking to you however they want to. Well, here is an opportunity for you to become your own employer, for you to learn a skill. And there's no law that says there's no rule that says you could only do one of these courses, right? So avail yourself as many as you can. As they say, a jack of all trades. So as opportunities present itself, if you see a private company put out an RFP, where they're doing pre-qualification exercises, and they would normally put out in the newspaper a list of all the different services that they're looking for contractors for, small, medium, and large, and you have skills in air conditioning, or you have skills in plumbing, or you have skills in welding, you could apply under the pre-qualification, set up your small business, so and so, company limited, as the case may be, get your directors and everything, your documents in order. Because these private companies, when they do the pre-qualification, that is what they're looking for. Companies that are registered, companies that are limited liability, that have their affairs in order, because they don't want to have the headache, right? That you're not fulfilling your statutory requirements. Train them, show them how it is to set up a business, how to register a business. A few of these young people in this area could come together and say, well, all right, the two of you, you are applying for welding, the two of you will apply for masonry, 3 of you for carpentry, 3 of you for air conditioning, refrigeration, whatever it is. So if it's 10 of them come together and they all decide different ones will do different things, so you have a mix of skills now, and then after that, once they complete the course, they could now come and start a business where they have 5, 6, 7 different skills that they could offer. That they could look for jobs in 5, 6, 7 different areas rather than all 10 of them go and do masonry, or all 10 of them decide to go and do carpentry. They mix it up, young people, and they start a business now. Hey, I get our contract here to build box drain, all right. So the fellows who doing masonry, they can handle that, right? Hey, look at this, that I see this private company here, they have a RFP and I see under the services refrigeration. We can apply for that. Yeah, because we have 3 fellas here who skilled in refrigeration, air conditioning, right? We could apply for that. That is what you need to be encouraging them to do. So the government is laying the foundation to give them the skills free of charge. And now for somebody else to come and take up the mantle to take it a step further and show them how it is to establish a business, train them how to apply, how to do pre-qualification, how to do tendering, and all of these different things. Train them in that so that they could start a business and employ the young people who are unemployed and who coming out of school with all of the passes and can't find work and all they complaining that they have 5 and 6 and 7 passes and can't get work and the government don't care about them. Let them employ themselves. Let them employ each other. And every time one of these cycles come up, let them encourage others to go and do the same thing. There's nothing that limits you to say you could only apply for work in Port of Spain. All over the country, there is need for these skills, these skill sets. That is what they're supposed to be doing. And this PNM administration has started it, giving them the skills free of charge. But as I say, you could lead a horse to water, but you can't force them to drink. So it is there. Who now is going to encourage these young people to, hey, put on the gun? Let me look to start a business. They're always complaining and saying, according to Philip Alexander, black people in this country own nothing. And the only purpose they serve is as employees and consumers. But we don't own industry. You need to shut him up with that foolishness. But you see, again, they wouldn't praise the government for that because no, Rowley don't care about black people. The PNM, they say it's a black people party, but they don't care about black people, then they do nothing for black people. Thank goodness the Newsday decided to publish this story. Otherwise, that would have remained one of the many good things that the government doing that is a well-kept secret. Many other good things the government doing, but again, when your social media committee and functioning as it should, how the population will know? Who really go ahead and take the time to go and pull up Ministry of Housing and Urban Development to see what it is they're doing? Who go ahead and pull up Ministry of Works and Transport to see what they are doing? Yeah, it's all there on their website, you know. But people actually have to go and engage these websites. So unless the media decide to take some interest in some of these projects and highlight it as front page stories, instead of 2 people get murdered so and 3 get murdered so, and this house, this person's home was invaded, because that is all. It seems that is all we can publish on the front page, nothing else. So what are you looking, sniffing around? Any murders take place? Anybody get hold up? Any crime? Right, that's what we want front page. And these other things could be on page 10, 12, and 15. Where they know that the average citizen, after they read the first 2 pages, they flip the newspaper, they read the back sports, and anything in between they could care less about. So it's hidden right there. Yeah? But only publish the negative news. Trinidad and Tobago is a hellhole. Trinidad and Tobago is a soul country. All the target countries crime. That's all they have to report on the page. Murder, carnage. Nothing else of substance, nothing good going on in the country. Well, as we see it, we will share it, bring it here. All right? But again, we're going into election very soon. It's obvious, it's evident. And these are the things that we need to start highlighting. But as I always say, with respect to radio, there's only how many of us? Well, I'm not on radio anymore. So on that station, I say you have Sharon, Juliet, Google, I know what's going on with Aisha. So, because see some, the last couple of, I don't listen to that station anymore, to be honest with you. I-95.5, John Gill, Jean Benoit, Darian Marcel. That's about it for radio. Yeah. Social media, I have myself, Jenny, Jennifer Pedrick, Rhoda Barath, sometimes Juliet again, Shuma Wilson. She doesn't do lives, but she puts out posts. And that's about it. That's about it. Yeah? That's the sum total of promote PNM. That is why all of the fancy media houses get promoted nonsense and getting away with it. Because where is the counter to that? They're shoving the propaganda. Where is the truth? Who is telling the truth? And you know, whatever, and that's why I like to engage some of these UNC supporters, right? Because when you engage them and you hear them the truth, they always deflect. They can't respond. So they go down the race road to tell you, call you a PNM latrine fly and Balize drinking and all them kind of thing. Right? We see it all the time. But I want to touch on this whole issue of this local government court case. At the UNC beating the chest. We win. Yeah. We win. 3 rounds. They win one round, right? The first round was in the High Court. One judge, they lost. Round two, the Appeal Court, Trinidad and Tobago, right? The Appellate Court, round two, 3 judges, they lost. They went to the Privy Council, round 3, the final round, 5 judges. 3 judges found in their favor, 2 judges found in favor of the PNM. But they beat in the chest, the Privy Council say that the government break the law. The Privy Council didn't say that, right? Because it wasn't a unanimous decision. There were 5 judges. 3 judges said that they found in favor of the UNC's arguments. The other 2 found in favor of the PNM. So in total, from start to finish, from the time this case was initiated to its completion, its conclusion last week, Thursday, 9 judges heard this matter. 9 judges were invited to adjudicate on this matter. 9. 6 out of the 9 found in favor of the PNM. 3 found in favor of the UNC. Right? 2/3 of the judges who heard this matter felt that the PNM's arguments were correct. 1/3, 3 judges, agreed with the UNC. Unfortunately, the forum in which those 3 judges rendered their opinion, even though that is a minority decision, because 3 out of 9 is a minority decision, the forum in which that opinion was proffered, 3 constituted a majority. You know what I find laughable about this? Whenever we have a general election and the UNC loses, PNM wins the majority of seats. The first thing the UNC falls back on, they would say, popular vote. Which party won the popular vote? Because that is the real voice of the people. And they love to claim in the early hours that they win the popular vote, to say more people voted for the UNC than for the PNM. But because in the PNM areas and PNM constituencies, we have more people voting for the PNM, as the case may be, and so therefore they win the more seats. But the popular vote is really the bigger issue, right? In this instance, the PNM won the popular vote. 6 out of 9 judges found in favor of the PNM. So the UNC will have you believe that the 3 judges who found in their favor, them bright, they know the law, they're the best judges in the world. And the other 6, some of them who went to the same law schools as the other 3, right? They don't know what they're talking about. All 9 judges heard the same evidence, entertained the same submissions, all 9 of them, right? Said, this is what we believe. Based on what we've heard and what we have read, this is our conclusion to the matter. And we find in favor of the PNM government. 3 of them say, well, we think differently. And they beat in their chest as if that is some big victory. You were not able to convince 9 judges. You were able to convince 3. The PNM was able to convince 6. Put all 9 of these judges to sit on the same panel and you will get a song cut. ARSE. Because 6 would say, we find in favor of the PNM. And 3 in favor of the UNC. But as I said, a minority. They won a case with a majority of 1. 5 judges, 2 vote for the PNM, 2 vote for the UNC, and they get an extra 1. A majority of 1. That is a big victory. That's a big victory that you were able to convince 3 out of 9 judges. Really? It just so happens that that was the final appellate court. And based on who that went down, it worked out in your favor. 6 versus 9. And when it is that the Attorney General would have pointed that out, Mrs. Prasad Bisasa say that what he delusional and that he's out of his mind. But isn't she the same person who in 2013, when her party, which had won 11 regional corporations seats in 2010, in 2013 lost 5 of those corporations to the PNM, and she said, but you win 6. We win. You win. Really? You lost 5, but you win. Okay, but you're complaining now that the Attorney General's argument. And the point is, ladies and gentlemen, you see, they're desperate for something to hold on to. They're thirsty for something to hold on to say, finally we get a victory. And this means thirsty for something to hold on to say, finally we get a victory. And this means that that Rowley is a dictator and the government trying to deprive the citizens of their right to vote. And it wasn't even on the basis of that the Privy Council found in their favor. No. The Privy Council's judgment basically stated that the law, the legislation as it was written, did not specify current councillors and aldermen. So basically, my understanding of it is that that was absent from the legislation. So the legislation as it was written didn't capture current aldermen and current councillors. But based on the way that it was written, it spoke to future councillors and future aldermen. And therefore, it was on that basis that these three judges said, well, that is our opinion. It didn't say that the government was dictatorial. It didn't say that, right? Because 6 judges held that you do not have an inherent right to vote with respect to the local government election. The general election is a totally different issue, right? But there is no constitutional right to vote every 3 years, according to what the judges would have said. In the local government election. But the UNC will have you believe it's because the PNM frayed the UNC, and that's why they didn't want to call the election. Half of the councillors who their only source of income is working as councillors. So whatever pay it is that they get as councillors, that's their only source of income. That is what they've been depending on for at least the last 3.5 years or so. They're happy for that. And she wanted to take that away from them. Now she asking a question about, well, the salaries that the councillors would have received since the expiration of the last period, is it that they will have to pay it back and all of these different things? So you're raising these questions. So you're going to go to court to have the court tell the councillors they have to pay money. Some of them are your councillors. That's the sole source of income. You know much of them vex with you? At the launch of the new party headquarters, the temporary headquarters, and I call it a temporary because it's only a matter of time before you hear them moving house again. She made the statement, Kamla Prasad-Bissessar made the statement that it is cheaper to rent than to build. Cheaper to rent than to build. That is the lame asinine excuse that she gave to her supporters. Because when they see in Balize House, because some of the Balize House living rent-free in the head, yeah, they can't get Balize House out of the head. They don't have a headquarters, knocking from pillow to post like the littlest hobo, right? When they can't pay the rent, they have to move out and go somewhere else. Only study in Balize House. So she wanted to tell them, well, though fear not, yes, I know somebody watching Balize House, somebody saying here, boy, you see the PNM have a house, the PNM party, they have a home for the past 60-something years, and we don't have a home. We get evicted from Rienzi complex for not paying rent, and we went here, we get kicked out. Right, you went upstairs, the bar, you get kicked out, you went opposite the funeral home, you get kicked out, and now you're in Shagona. So wondering how long we're going to stay there. And what she says, it is cheaper to rent than to build. So if any of you UNC supporters hoping to have your own headquarters constructed anytime soon under the leadership of Kamla Prasad-Bissessar, well, she threw that thought out of the window. All right? So then you aren't building no headquarters anytime soon. So tell yourself that for the next foreseeable future, as long as you will continue to keep her as political leader, and we encourage you so to do, please keep her there. You all will continue to be hobos, knocking from pillar to post, yeah? Homeless, destitute. Or to use Monilal word, vagrants. Since he say when they come into power, they are going to convert Balize House into a home for vagrants because Balize House was always a place for vagrants. That disrespectful twat. But at least Balize House, the PNM supporters, we have a home. You all have none. You're renting. And your leader say that is the smarter thing to do. And I asked the question, is that her thinking, should she become prime minister again, that it would be cheaper to rent than to build? Such that we can expect to see an explosion in the rental money that the state has to be paying for accommodations for state enterprises. Because remember, she already said, make me the prime minister, and I created at least 3 new ministries. The Ministry of Home Affairs, the Ministry of Justice, and the Ministry of Defense. And as I told you all before, housing accommodation has to be found for these 3 ministries. Yeah? You have to rent a building. And she says, it's cheaper to rent than to build. Meanwhile, the People's National Movement continues to build infrastructure. The Ministry of Health headquarters, the new headquarters, state-owned, that is being built Queen's Park East, just opposite the road from the Savannah, just before the hospital there, is almost complete. So soon enough, the Ministry of Health will be moving out of the rented accommodation on Park Street, where they're paying over $8 million a year in rent, into their own facility at Queen's Park East, right? State-owned, but the leader of the opposition tell you it's cheaper to rent than to build. So if it is that all you're expecting under a UNC government to see any new ministries being built, that's not going to happen. It's cheaper to rent than to build. And who we renting from? Who owns the buildings? As she said, I have in my hand here a dossier containing a list of over 150 properties owned by the clan. And on another night, I will tell you where these properties are and who the owners are. The clan. Who's the clan, Mrs. Pasabisasa? And how many of those 150 properties do you intend to rent to house the Ministry of Defense, the Ministry of Home Affairs, the Ministry of Justice, and any other nonsensical ministry that you may think of creating when you come in? To create jobs for the boys, so that once again you could lay claim to the record of having the largest cabinet in this country's history. And to the UNC supporters who always like to talk about how the government wasting money and how that money could be better spent, just remember, for every new ministry that you create, you need a minister to lead that ministry, which is an additional salary that the state has to pay, right? You need a permanent secretary for these ministries. So persons who may be operating in lower levels and who will have to be promoted to become permanent secretaries, just remember there's an increase in salary for them too. So the government's wage costs are going to go up. The government's rental bill is going to go up. It's cheaper to rent than to build. That is the philosophy of Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Hence the reason for 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days. What did she do? She left the government campus downtown empty, vacant, when all they needed to do, because when they came in, it was almost when it was complete. It was just the outfit. 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days, they did nothing about it. Save and except for the last 3 months, just before the election, they run, say they look into outfit. Yeah? To say they do something. But Keith Rowley came in, and one of the first things he sought to do was to complete the outfitting of these buildings and move out these ministries from rented accommodation into state-owned accommodation so that they don't have to be paying that rent. I continue to say that all of these hundreds of millions that was being spent in rent for these buildings, these ministries, that was going into the pocket of the so-called 1%. Right? They say, Kamla say Rowley in the 1% back pocket. But meanwhile, she was putting hundreds of millions of dollars in the 1% back pocket. It didn't have room for Rowley in the back pocket. With all the money that they were stuffing from what they were getting from Kamla, renting the buildings instead of outfitting the government campus to house government ministries. Such that today, the Ministry of Finance has its own building, a 20-something story building, right? They have Board of Inland Revenue, and I think they have so many floors there that the Ministry of Public Administration, I believe, also has some accommodation there. Customs that used to be renting the building, the glass blue building at the bottom of Independence Square and Abercrombie Street, which was Nicholas Towers, the old Nicholas Towers. Customs moved over there almost 7 years now. They have their own building on Ajax Street. Yeah? So for the last 7 years, Mr. Nicholas has not been receiving any rental income for that building from the state because customs moved out and nobody else has moved in. But maybe there's one building that Mrs. Prasad Bisesa could use to house one of her new ministries that she intends to establish. So when all they're griping and complaining over the money could have spent to build a hospital and pave a road and build school, know that it would be going in rental income to benefit a few rather than the many. But all ain't ready for that conversation. No, all ain't ready for that conversation yet. Yeah? UNC supporters. That is what your leader and the leadership of your party is advocating. Right? So coming back to the local election. She demanded Rowley to fix the date, fix the election date. Really, madam? Fix the date. Where have I heard that before? Yes. 2010, general election campaign. One of the many false promises that was made by the People's Partnership government. The People's Partnership, led by Kamla Prasad Bisesa, was to put us in office and we will establish fixed dates for election. No longer will the Prime Minister be able to pull the election date out of his back pocket or his Forbes. I remember that? 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days later. Was it done? That was 2010. We're in 2023. 13 years later, the Prime Minister still pulling the election date out of his back pocket and his Forbes. What happened to that promise? But Rowley is a liar. Rowley say he ain't closing down Petrotrin. But Kamla tell all you, vote for me, fixed dates for election. Never happened. Vote for me, term limits for Prime Minister. 2 terms and you're gone. All you went like Rowley. If she had fulfilled that promise, well, be certain that come 2025, Rowley would have been gone. Yeah? All your leader promised that. What happened to that? She said, recall legislation. If your MP playing up in the monthly salary, all you need to do is to get a certain number of the constituents in that constituency to sign a petition, and you could recall your MP and go for a new one. What happened to that legislation? Rowley is a liar. Rowley say he wasn't closing down Petrotrin. No tax, axe the tax. We will repeal the Property Tax Act as soon as we get inside. No property tax. Not only did they not repeal the property tax for 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days, but in 2014, she was sitting right next to her $11 million Minister of Finance as he was reading the budget, and he announced the return of property tax on a phased basis over 3 years. Commercial, industrial, residential. So if they had won the election in 2015, by 2017, property tax would have returned. You would have been paying property tax to your KPAC since the last 6 years, based on what Larry Hawaii, $11 million Minister of Finance, announced in 2014. But all you're ready for that conversation. All you're ready for that conversation. $3,000 pension when you reach 60. Yes, so you're getting $3,000, and Manning changed it from an old age pension to a grant. And a grant means that the government could take it back, but a pension means that you are entitled to it. So we will change it back to a pension, and you will get $3,000 pension at 60, plus your $3,000 from NIS. So you're getting $6,000 from the state every month. And as soon as she gets into office, it was a misprint. We didn't say that. But every night, night after night, speaker after speaker, talking about this $3,000 pension that you will get at 60. Chain up people who tell themselves, well, hey, 60 right around the corner, boy, I inside. And get them your vote. And then they come and say it's a misprint. Did they even change it back from a grant to a pension? The name arose by any other name. But Rowley is a liar. Rowley say he wasn't closing down Petrotrin. But they forget everything else that the political leader said. All the promises. She told the people of Labre, smelter go kill all you. All you will get cancer and dead. No smelter. Right? Manning trying to kill all you. Don't take no smelter. I fall for that. The whole country fall for that. Yes, the only to get rid of that smelter because they start with Labre, but they go kill people. You will see much people in the country who get cancer and death. No smelter, and people vote for that. But to the people of Labre, the People's Partnership has not forgotten you, and we will ensure that we will take care of you. So the jobs that you all would have gotten from that smelter, it will be replaced by a ship repair and ship building facility that will be established on the same site that the smelter was supposed to be built. 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days. Not a brick. They didn't pull a line. Nothing. Where the shipbuilding facility that you promised the people of Labre? Eh? Where is it? Chain up. You sell them dreams, false promises. You lie to the people of Labre. Mrs. Pasabi says so. You and your party. Well, you lie to the people of Labre. Chain them up. Chain up the people at Trinidad and Tobago. They say, hey, yeah, and what come on happen? Nothing for the people of Labre. And then want to say that the PNM and taking care of the constituency. And all they could do is right to talk about the condition of the roads in Labre. Right? Failing to understand that no matter how many times you pave that particular stretch of road that leads down to the pitch lake because of the substrata of that road, where you have a lot of pitch, because the pitch lake isn't just down on that side, right? That contributes to the reason why the road will always be unstable. But for those who not in the know, like to talk that strip, you ever go down? We have Trinidad, we have the pitch lake, we have all that pitch. And look how we have the worst roads in the country, as if all you need to pave road is pitch. That's all you need, just pitch, nothing else. You don't need bitumen, you don't need crushed rock, you don't need any of those things. All you need is pitch. So just go down by the pitch lake, and it's right there. So pitch to Liberation have the best roads in the country because all you need to pave a road is pitch. Right? And that is what the waterfront ilk, that is what they will tell you. Everything good, everything good. Do you know why you are here today? Well, yeah, no, I don't know. Ask Sheena. Everything good, everything good. And to have a clue what is going on. But quick to run on social media and the app and run all your mouth. Forget that this is social media is international, so it's not confined to Trinidad. So people outside, when it is people sharing, all who have friends and family outside seeing the nonsense and thinking, that's really a banana republic, boy. That's how they think. Really? All the things that they promised in 2010, things that they didn't promise, right? So yesterday I was having this exchange with one of the supporters, and when I asked him about all these things that Kamala promised, here his response. Tell me what if I really expected all of the I expected the People's Partnership to do all of these things in just 5 years. Partner, they had a 29 seat majority, my friend. 29. So they could have passed all kind of legislation without the support of the PNM. Wherever they wanted to, they had the majority to do it. And if it is, that 5 years wasn't sufficient to be able to do these things, you should not have sold dreams to the people. But it's simple legislation. So legislation that they didn't promise, they tried to pass. Remember the runoff? They never talked that talk in 2010. That if it is that you're a supporter of a minority party, and if this party doesn't get a certain number of votes in the first round of the election, that they are disqualified. So the supporters of that party, the only choice you have is either you vote for one of the other parties that captured sufficient votes to make it to the second round, or you don't vote. You don't have a say in terms of who is your representative. That was never in the manifesto in 2010. But they do that. They bring that legislation. But you're trying to tell me the legislation that they promise, term limits for the prime minister, fixed dates for election, recall legislation, they couldn't do that in 5 years. And you post that with a straight face. With a straight face, and laughing at it, telling me like the fridge door hit me in my head. Well, I couldn't stop laughing. I mean, it's almost as if some of you all want the world to know that you dance. You really post that nonsense, pal? You so brave to post that trash? And that is your best defense that you could come up with? So that you wouldn't have to admit that your political leader is a damn blasted liar. They know how to chain up people and sell dreams. So all these things that they promising, put us in office in 2025 and we will do this and we will do that. All they're doing is trying to see how best they can promote their electoral prospect based on past glories, if you want to call it that. So all like I said, they built 106 schools. Well, they're still jumping on that. Anthony Garcia, as Minister of Education, rubbished that in 2019 during the media review. He came with the whole list. After Tim Gopi Singh got up on TV himself and talk about how much school they built and where they built it, Garcia came prepared for him with the list from the ministry, showing that half of the schools that they claimed they built started under the PNM, under the Manning administration. But the PNM was voted out, and they came in with these schools under construction and finished under them, and they want to take credit for other people's work. But you all ain't ready to have that conversation. 106 schools, but ask Paula to name the 106 schools. You don't even know 5. You can't name 5, but talking nonsense, but they build 106 schools. And they give out a laptop, as if that was this big achievement. You're giving children laptop, no internet access when they go home. Some of them may have no electricity to charge your laptop when they go home. So when they come to school the next day, they're looking for the first plug that they could find to plug in the laptop. It was never inculcated or included in the curriculum. So there was no need or no use for the laptop in the classroom. So it's just there. Same thing, the teacher go up on the blackboard or the whiteboard, depending on which one it is, and teaching the same way without any use or any involvement of the laptop. So the laptop is just for them to do research or for them to look at pornography and play games on when it's recess and lunchtime and when they go home. But there was no practical use for it in the schools. But your supporters want to boast and talk about Kamala get the children and them laptop. As if. Who benefited from that? The people who brought in the laptops got $1 million contracts, and the people that got the contract to fix the laptops. So in a lot of cases, the laptops and them pack up somewhere there because the amount of them and how quickly they failed, they couldn't fix it fast enough. But that is all your boast. That's all your boast. She built one hospital, the Cuba Hospital, one, and she converted a government, what was intended to be a government building, another building that Mr. Manning constructed in order to house government ministries so that he could reduce the amount of money that the PNM government was putting into the pockets of the so-called 1%, as all they want to say. She converted that into a hospital and beat in her chest. So the government has to continue to pay rent for state facilities, state departments, and ministries that are housed in the South. So she built one hospital from start to finish. Borrow money from the Chinese to do that, over $1 billion. Keith Rowley built 3 hospitals and 2 under construction. He built the Arima Hospital, right? In fact, today is what, the 21st of May? Today is the anniversary of the turning of the sword by the People's Partnership Government. They turned the sword on the 21st of May, 2050, for the Point Fortin Hospital. 3.5 months before the general election. 21st of May, they turned the sword. On the 7th of May, 2015, they turned the sword for the Arima Hospital. And as I always say, unless those 2 hospitals are prefab, that they built in 3.5 months, miss me with that BS about who is the People's Partnership build that hospital. They didn't even start the foundation. They didn't pull a line. Nothing was done on those 2 projects between the time that they signed, that they turned the sword, to when this administration came in. Nothing. So miss us with that BS. They didn't build any Point Fortin Hospital, and they built no Arima Hospital either. The PNM did that. Keith Rowley did that. He built the Roxborough Hospital, that is 3. Grandy Hospital is under construction, and the Central Block for Port of Spain is under construction. Right? So when Keith Rowley would have demitted office, 5 hospitals. Kamala built 1 in her 5 years. 1, and all they want to beat all their chest about that. I always say, Keith Rowley purchased 3 ferries, brand new. How many Kamala buy? None. 0. Zokes. But the highest amount of revenue in this country's history, energy revenue, didn't buy 1 ferry. You bring a superfast Galicia that was not compatible with the port infrastructure. And every time they start it up, it rocked the foundation of the Hyatt, right? Resulting in damage to the Hyatt foundation, damage to some of the glass panes in the Hyatt, and the state had to end up paying compensation to Hyatt to fix that damage. Where you had guests who were complaining that this big boat blocking the view, so they didn't want to come to the Hyatt. That they lie down in their room, and every time they start up the engine for the Superfast Galicia, the hotel is shaking. People had to be hearing that noise. When they pay their money, the 1,500, 2,000, or the 2,000, whatever it is per night to stay in the Hyatt, that is what they have to put up with. And all they be told just for the Superfast Galicia, and it's the best thing since wherever. And this is what they do. Come back into office. Nothing of substance. They boasted they created employees. They created 50,000 jobs. You create 50,000 employees, madam. That is what you did. You created a resource pool for the business sector to get workers. 50,000 of them. This administration continues to invest in programs. So I read one for you all just now. 4th cycle, 130 persons who would be trained in a variety of different skills so that they could become entrepreneurs and work for themselves and offer services to companies and individuals. You have the Homestead program, where every year, 200 young people between the ages of 18 and 35 will be given an opportunity to study agriculture for 1 year at the University of the West Indies at the behest of the state. So the state will pay for it. And once you complete the course successfully, you will receive 2 acres of land, a starter home, $20,000 to start your business. 200 entrepreneurs every year. 200 every year. And once they become entrepreneurs, they could now hire others from within the community. That is what this administration is doing, to bring people out of poverty. But all you know, Rowley say, the rich must get rich and the poor must stay poor. The Prime Minister never said that. He said there is nothing wrong with the rich getting richer, but the poor must come out of poverty. And to that end, his administration has been doing things, establishing programs so that the poor could come out of poverty. And not just come out of poverty by getting a work, having to work 8 to 4 or 9 to 5 for 40 hours a week and collect a salary at the end of the fortnight or the end of the month. No, that they could control their income earning potential by giving them the skill sets and the opportunities to become employers so that they can employ themselves and others and make a better living and improve their communities. That is what this government is doing. Could you point me to where Kamala Prasad-Bissessar was doing that? Because I hear her talking, we created 1,000 entrepreneurs. You probably created 1,000 from your party by giving them $1 million contracts, right? But you certainly didn't do that in the so-called at-risk communities that you're all complaining about now and calling the young people from these communities miscreants and cockroaches messes to society, right? I saw a post where some young lady, I should have saved it this morning, talking about how the other night she got up and she saw some 4 fellas on the neighbor's wall and so on, but nobody living by the neighbor, so she knows they were coming by her and she ran outside and she's advising Fitzgerald Hines. I forget the term that she used to describe persons from Mr. Hines' constituency, telling them to try and feed them so that they would not come out and distress people like herself, and that the next time they try to come on her property and so on, she wants Mr. Hines to know that they'll be living in a body bag. So, madam, let me tell you, you are very fortunate that you are still alive to talk that talk. Yeah, you're lucky that one of these guys didn't have a gun when you run outside to play Tanto, and that they didn't rob you, or worse. Consider yourself very fortunate that that didn't happen. But you see, that is the kind of behavior that we could expect under stand your ground law. That is the behavior that we can expect under a UNC government where you want gun, once you're a law-abiding citizen and you don't have a track record with the courthouse, you could get gun. So you get up in the middle of the night and you see 4 men on your neighbor wall, and because you have gun, where normally you would have run inside, stay inside, call the police, right? Call the police and let the police come and deal with it. No, I have gun, but look, I go in and kill 4 tonight. So you run out in your gallery painting, or you sneak up and you shoot because you have gun. So all of a sudden you're brave. Yeah, you're brave now, right? So you just hoping and praying that somebody come to try and rob your house so you could kill them because you have gun and you have stand your ground legislation to protect you from making a jail, right? So every night you go and you say your prayers and Lord, please send 2 miscreants from Beetham, or please send 3 miscreants from East Port of Spain to try and rob me tonight so I could take out 2 or 3 of them. Because you have gun and you want to use it. So you want to have a story to tell, yeah, 3 of them tried to rob my house and I lick up the 3 of them. Right? Just remember they have target practice, they have guns too. And in most cases, their guns more powerful than what you would be able to access. Because the guns that they're using, as the Prime Minister would have announced at the crime symposium, will be declared illegal. Their guns illegal anyway. So when you shoot them, pow, pow, pow. Right? 2 and so when you should take your time to pull the trigger for each one. In their case, the gun that they're using firing several rounds at one point in time. So when you could get off 3 shots, they could probably get off 15 and 20 shots. So they're going to pump you full of lead. Yeah. So if you want to play, well, Marshall Dillon or who's this other one, John Wayne, yeah, shooting from the hip, you have a gun. So you want to take on the criminals, you're a crime fighter. Go ahead. Vote for that. Vote for that. Before, I will take the calls because, yeah, I just want to add this. For this upcoming local government election, right? I'm going here and I know tomorrow night on the night forum, oh gosh, they're going to like this. That's all of them talking about tomorrow night, the Monday night forum. What the Privy Council say. But just remember, when they come with that talk, 9 judges, 6 found in favor of the PNM and 3 found in favor of the UNC. 3, minority decision, right? But they'll have you believe the 6 that found in favor of the PNM, they don't understand the law. The 3 that found in their favor, they're the best judges in the world. The most learned, the most wise, the best. Can't nobody like the 3 of them, right? Because they found in their favor. For the next 6, 3 or 4 are appellate judges. No, 5 of them, because 2 of them, law lords of the Privy Council. 3 of them sit on the highest court in Trinidad and Tobago, the appeal court, and then the high court judge. 6 of them found in favor of the PNM. But they don't know what they're talking about. 10,000 Frenchmen, was he saying? Can't be wrong. Okay? 10,000 Frenchmen can't be wrong. And if 6 read the same submissions, heard the same evidence, and came to the same conclusion, and 3 of them came to a totally different conclusion, make of that what you will. But I will remind you, right? And I always draw Sangre Grande as the quintessential example of what you can expect as a demonstration of UNC greed, avarice. See other words I want to describe. They're ungrateful. And every time I talk about this, it always upsets me. So for those of you who may have voted in that election, that is a waste of time. Or I may have voted for Raulina. Rory, do something? We ain't voting for PNM and the PNM this year, and you want to go and vote for the UNC. I will repeat 2013 to 2016. PNM takes back the Sangre Grande Regional Corporation from the UNC. You have 12 committees chaired, and each committee has a chairman. PNM wins the constituency. The party that is in control has control of all 12 committees. So they could, if they want to put 2 persons per committee or how many ever, they could do that. The magnanimous Mr. Terry Rondon as chairman, against better advice and wanting to be fair, decided you have 12 members of council, 12 members of council, 12 committees, 1 for everybody. So the PNM will get and the UNC will get. So for 3 years, everybody, PNM and UNC, share in a committee. Yeah, in principle, it's a nice thing. Okay? And every chairman gets a little extra something at the end of the month in their pay packet because they're serving as chairman. UNC happy with that. Yes, man. 2016, PNM lose a seat. But by virtue of incumbency, because now it's 4-4, right? By virtue of incumbency, the PNM held on to the leadership of the council. Again, Terry Rondon, against better advice, do not give the UNC members of council, the councillors and the aldermen, do not give them chairmanship of any committee. Or let deal with it for themselves. No. Terry, being the fair man that he is and magnanimous as he is, say 12 members of council, 12 committees, 1 apiece. Right? 2013 to 16, he did that. 2016 to 2019, he did that. PNM have chairmanship, UNC have chairmanship, corporation running. 2019, PNM lose a seat, UNC comes into power. Right? Under the leadership of Anil Jutaram, current chairman, what did they do? Increase the number of committees from 12 to 15. From 12 to 15. So for the past 6 years and some, corporation running good with 12 committees, no problem. But all of a sudden, all they come in 2019, you're all in charge, and 12 is not enough. We need to add 3 more. Right? So that is more money that all you're pulling that is allocated to the corporation to do the work for the people, going in all your pocket personally, because that extra money had to pay committee chairman and what have you. Right? And every time these committees, extra committees meet, you have to provide meals, a snack, because we have to eat. We sit down for hours to deliberate, So money had to spend for that too. Money that should be going to help the burgesses of Sangre Grande Regional Corporation, going in their pocket and their belly. 2019, they come in. What did they do? Increase the number of committees from 12 to 15 and take all. So 7 of them, 2 apiece, and the extra 1, instead of say, well, all right, let me give Terry Rondon that extra 1 now. Because he was good to us for 6 years. For 6 years, he included us. He treated us like a brother equally, and he ensured that all of us served as chairman. Let me give him 1, so we could at least give a consolation prize to the PNM. Not even that, those greedy, covetous bastards, right? The chairman took 3 for himself, and the other 6 of them 2 each. All 15, not 1 for the PNM after 6 years of the PNM wanting to be magnanimous. Say, let me share it up equal, everybody gets 1. The ungrateful bastards. But because they love money. That's what it is. It's money they love. And even though you're on 2, you're getting your salary as a councillor, right? You're serving as chairman on 2 committees, so you're getting extra money for each committee, but you're still looking to solicit bribe. Still looking to solicit bribe. So the money you're getting in your salary and the extra money you're getting as chairman of two committees is not enough. You're looking to solicit bribe from contractors now, and now you're before the courthouse. Every local government practitioner that before the courthouse come from the UNC party. Glenn Ram, same thing, chairman of the corporation in Mayaro, the Mayaro Regional Corporation, but you're looking to solicit bribe because the money is never enough for them. Greed. And that is the problem. But PNM people are like, we ain't getting nothing from the PNM. Me voting. I ain't voting for no PNM. And then when the election bell is rung, and after all is said and done, you come into Canberra, you ain't see what them UNC do. You ain't see what they do, way. It's all in Sangre Grande look for that. You all looked for that. You all gave them the the control of the corporation so that they could give the PNM a swift kick in the backside. So all of you who sit down and contemplating when the election come up that you want to do that, you ain't voting, right? And then for 2 years, you had to hear the UNC supporters gloating. Yeah, we give a good cocktail. Yeah, the PNM get licks. The same thing. You see what they do in Tobago? Right. For the next 2 years, you have to sit down and hear that. For 2 years to hear that. Yeah, they kick them out in Tobago. And you see the local government happen. And in general election, prepare yourself to have to listen to that disrespectful twat that is Ruda Munilal for 5 years, 3 months and 40, because you know they're going down to the wire. Down to the wire, they're going down. To listen to him gloat. You can imagine having Anil Roberts as a minister of government again. Anil Roberts has done irreparable damage to Dabadi Omera, particularly Omera Road South, Karapo, Evergreen, Racecourse Road behind the racetrack there, where it is that he would have facilitated an environment that was conducive to certain religious elements. That today, down in the back there, from what I understand, they're just walking into people's homes and putting out people. Yes, you spend your hard-earned money to build your house, and these guys come in and taking your house and threatening you and tell you, leave, because they want to take your house that you built, and you have no recourse, because when you go and call the police telling you, yeah, well, it's better you leave that alone, yes? Because next thing, them fellas, if you try to fight them, what they go do again? They will come and kill you, and then they still take the house anyway. So it's better you move out the area. After you take loan, work hard, sweat to build your house. This is the nonsense that is taking place in Omera Road South, down in the back behind the racetrack. That people are being distressed, right? When these I don't know what to call them. They could come with gun and tell you, hey, pack and leave, get out. We taking this house now. And you can't even get help from the police. You can't get help from the police because they threaten you, right? But they're not around when the police comes. And you're afraid to go and point out who it is because you know by the time the police leave, you end up a statistic. So what are you left to do? Leave your house that you built and find alternative accommodations elsewhere. Thanks to that clown, right? Given box train contract. 77 murders took place in Dabadi Omera, according to the police, because of that box train contract racket that he was running. Enable these guys now to take charge. And this is what people are facing. And you could expect more of that. That when it is that he as a minister could stand up, and it's on Hansard, stand up in a prize-giving ceremony and make the claim to say that a young man come up and say, I do that. Wrong man already. You proud to talk about that. Live sport. Right? Well, I see the live sport, the current board won a victory in the court last week. Or so where it is that they could now sue the former board to get back the 34 million that they gave to E-Beam, Adolphus Daniel. 34 million, we ain't got a stick of chalk, not a pencil, paperclip, nothing. $34 million gone just so. But they ain't ready for that conversation. No? All we have to hear now, going forward for the next week or so, is about the Privy Council judgment with respect to the local government election. But last week, the former Attorney General also called a press conference where he updated us on the status of the $1 billion civil suit that the state, the PNM government in 2004, brought against several persons, and it whittled down to 3 of them. But up to now, there has been no appeal, despite the fact that the defendants claimed they were going to appeal. And we stand to gain $9 million every year, so long as that judgment remains outstanding, and that the state is now moving to seize the assets of these individuals to satisfy that judgment. But no comment from the members of the UNC party. I ain't see they call press conference. Kamala put out a statement on that, to comment on that. They're not interested in that court case, no. Where the state, you, the taxpayers, the citizens of this country stand to get at least $1 billion from these guys. The UNC not interested in that. They're not interested in that case. Then we talk about A.V. Gillen, 100 million. Yeah, we want to talk about that. We were back down 100 million, but the $1 billion that you stand to get back from Steve Ferguson, Brian Quaitong, and Gutierrez and others, you don't want to have that conversation. No. The only time that whenever that comes up, the only thing they could find to say on that, yeah, there's more money for Rowley to thief. Well, look how Balize House going and finish now. Yeah, they're going and take that money to finish Balize House and to put it in their pocket. That's the only conversation they could have with respect to that. But all of a sudden, no, all of them know about Privy Council and how the Privy Council operates. They know the finest details of the outcome of that judgment, but they can't talk about that civil suit. In fact, the leader, when it is that the judgment came out, right, that Stephen Quaiton, and they had lost the case. But she said, well, these things, there's big money involved there, and we expect an appeal. So I will reserve comment until after the appeal. But last year, when it is that the Attorney General, when it is that the court in Miami found with respect to the affidavit and so on, and it disqualified the Attorney General, Reginald Amo, and Sequel Law, which was the law firm she had plenty to say. Every Monday night, that's all she's talking about. When last year she talked about Sequel Law? Right, because they lost the case. Big and bold, she jumped up on the Monday Night Forum to say, because of the Attorney General and the lies, and he lied in the affidavit, and the disqualification of Sequel Law and the Attorney General, there's a real possibility that the case will be thrown out, and the millions of dollars that have been spent in legal fees and fighting this case over the last 19 years will go down the drain. That didn't happen. We're going to get back costs. So for every penny that the state spent on that case would be recovered in costs. No comment, but you had plenty to say the other day to tell the population that the case could be thrown out and we stand to lose millions. But now we're getting back the millions, no comment. You said no press release on that. No Sunday morning press conference to talk about that. That is not a topic on the Monday Night Forum. No, it's as if that didn't happen. That didn't happen, right? You have nothing to say on that. Finger on your lip. Your mouth up a zip, you hush. But all the other time, you had plenty to say, right? What you need to explain to us is why is it that between 2010 to 2015, there was no movement on that matter? That the government which you led, Kamala Prasad-Bisesa, alongside Ann Ramlan, that according to Faris Al-Rawi, when they came in, they saw that there was no movement. Nothing was done to further that civil suit. So that when this administration came in 2015, 2016, they were facing the possibility that that civil suit would have been thrown out. And we, the citizens of this country, would have lost out on over $1 billion. But it was because of the due diligence of this administration, Keith Rowley, Faris Al-Rawi, and others, that they continued to pursue the cause, the suit relentlessly, such that today the court found in favor of Trinidad and Tobago, and we stand to gain close to $1 billion or more. No thanks to her administration. And since Faris Al-Rawi made that claim on more than one occasion, not once has anybody from the People's Partnership government come out and say, Faris lied. Not one of them have called a press conference or put out a statement to say that is not true, that this is what we did between 2010 to 2015 to advance that case. Not one of them has come out and denied to say Faris lied and that they did anything. You know why? Because they know what he said is true. They did nothing between 2010 and 2015. Why? It's to protect. Jack say she get $8 million for Section 34, which was to get them off. So if it is that we collect our pay, our money to make that case go away, why would we then pursue it to the hilt between 2010 and 2015? Up to this day, she said she was going to sue Jack Warner. Here we are, more than 8 years later, up to now, she has not sued Jack Warner for the claim that she received $8 million from Ishan Steve to make that matter go out. She promised us an avalanche of lawsuits. One lawsuit we get so far. One. What happened to all the rest? My lawyers are listening intently and they're taking notes. And as soon as the election is over, we will unleash an avalanche of lawsuits against Mr. Warner. We're still waiting. Where are the lawsuits? You're afraid that he'd probably have hardcore evidence that he would bring out and expose you? I just ask him. But that is what they want to tell you is the alternative to the PNM. The alternative to the PNM is chaos. The alternative to the PNM is bacchanal. What's happening in Tobago? Man want to flex his muscles. He in charge. He's the boss. And Rowley need to mind the business. Rowley responsible for national security and so on. Rowley down in Trinidad, he can't handle the crime every day. They're killing one another down there and he can't deal with it. So he's trying to create a distraction by coming up into Tobago and causing bacchanal. But now you decide to meet with the heads, the national security heads in Tobago, to announce that every home and every car in Tobago will be searched. Just that your cousin transport division licensing officers coming up from Trinidad to Tobago, right? And as you say, terrorizing citizens, motorists in Tobago, stopping them and causing inconvenience, traffic on the road. But you now coming to say you're going to search every home in Tobago, right? And you know when police conduct a search in a house, how it is go, right? They don't come with gloves and gently lift up this and put it back. When they open the buffet with all of your wares and so on, if they're taking it out gently and rest it on the dining table and check and put it back. When they pull the drawers, they open it and all your folded clothes, if they take out the clothes gently and they open it and then they fold back the clothes, they throw things all over the place. You fix back that. But that is not an inconvenience to the people of Tobago. No. That is not terrorizing the people of Tobago. You know what? But your supporters don't clap that. Yes, Fali. Yes, deal with the crime. Deal with the crime. You have enough soldiers and police in Tobago to do that? Or is it that you need to request help from Trinidad? The same officers that you don't want coming up to Tobago to terrorize Tobagonians. You need help from Trinidad now? Or you have enough over there to do that? Yeah, but Rowley can handle the crime situation. 6 murders in Tobago so far. A record under whose leadership? Fali. But we're not having that conversation. The UNC not interested in that. They're not interested in anything that's taking place in Tobago. People ain't getting paid on time, they have nothing to say. Right? Allegations of certain Trinidadian contractors getting big contracts at the expense of Tobagonians, they have nothing to say on that. They're not interested in anything that's happening in Tobago. But she wants to be the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. And as I told you all before, do that. And when they come back in, I am not putting it past them. Have a discussion with Fali before the election. Hear what? You tell us what you want. We just want you to win them 2 Tobago seats and join with us to form the government. And once you do that, whatever machination, whatever form you want Tobago autonomy to take, we will give it to you. Down to secession and all. What you want? You tell us what you want and we will give it to you. Because you'll be a part of the government. You could even draft the legislation for yourself and tell us. Change the 56th schedule or the 5th schedule or whatever it is, and we will put every government service under the THA responsibility. So Trinidad have no say. So if it is we come out of office and the PNM come back, they can't interfere. They have nothing. Central government have nothing to do with Tobago affairs. You just tell us how you want it, you draft it, and we will pass it. All of that, just so that they could get back into the treasury for another 5 years and finish the job they started from 2010 to 2015. You think it's easy? Meanwhile, back at the ranch, when is the next PNM public meeting? I could tell you when is the next UNC public meeting. Tomorrow night. I have no information. I can't tell you. Just like, well, yeah, I sit around waiting too. And whenever it happened, when it announced, I'll go watch it. So long I ain't take alcohol. I can't even remember what the number is. Well, you had to forgive me. I think it's 770-1763. I believe it is. It's not much in all this thing here. Pressure. And I see it inside already. All right, let me turn this up here. Jenny, morning. Just now, let me just connect this here.
Hi, morning, Dominic. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Hi, morning to all those who logged in on Facebook and YouTube. It's good to see you back, Dominic. We miss you.
Good to be back.
Dominic, listen now. We're not waiting on no chairman from the Tanakuna Regional Corporation. We're waiting on nobody, you know. We understand the significance and the importance of this thing because I'll tell you what. When you look at the decision was made by the medical board at Trinidad and Tobago, they gave Dr. Sow 1 week suspension for that racist attack on African people. But Gabriel had 1 more month to complete her internship so she can be certified to practice medicine in Trinidad and Tobago. Because of some alleged racist comments she made on Facebook, she gets fired. I want to bring Stanya Ground in America. It shows that who is at the receiving end who have been murdered by Stanya Ground is African people. She pundit say that is African Youth East-West Corridor, which is targeting Indians and Arangas when there's no data to support that, and there was Stanya Ground. If African people don't watch what's going on here, they're trying to make us second-class citizens in this country. Look at the way they behave when Dr. Keith Christopher Rodley got an honorary degree from Howard University. We have always been educating ourselves long before our indented brothers and sisters come to this country. We have been in middle class in this country, we have not only professions in this country. So excellence and education is nothing new to the African community. However, they are late starters. They were late starters in getting themselves educated for all different reasons that it may not have been totally their fault. So I don't know if they're operating from a place of insecurity and lack of self-confidence. So that anytime they see people of African descent get anything, they want to compete and compete. And when they see you start to compete and when they feel self-confidence and they are self-confident, you have a way to turn to do the wrong things again. False academic qualification, corruption, nepotism, communism, all them things happen under the UNC. I'm telling African people, all they sit down there and boy, I ain't paying them and giving nothing. I ain't get a jersey. The minister passed me straight. The minister ain't answer my phone call. All of them paying them, all of them is the same. Continue with that rhetoric and not understand. And seed has been planted by Dr. King Christopher and the PNM, and it is now starting to grow. We couldn't get everything one time because when they come in, everything was in a mess, it was in a shambles. They had to build. It can't build in 1 year, it can't build the same way the Bolin Tamla couldn't fix everything in 5 years. Although when Dr. Keith Christopher Rolling the PNM must have fixed it in 7 years. So let's throw away all the adult suffrage where all of we have the right to vote and sit on home and say local election, me ain't coming out to that and small thing. And let UNC who want to bring in this country stand your ground to kill African people. I say so in my opinion because that is what they're doing in the state. Research has shown that. Let them come into the corporation and see if they will get something. They don't even care about their own. Because if they care about their own, they'll never take the local government situation to no privy council, where it was to enrich and empower their own. Because the councils will be working 4 years, they're going to be qualified, they're going to get a permanent job, bigger salary, the little office, but the little staff, they're going to be collecting property tax, things going to be going on. So they don't even like their own. So let's sit down there, PNM people. I'm talking to all you, sit down there. And Bolon ain't coming out of vote because I ain't like Dr. Rowley. And we ain't even, I tell you, we don't mention a social media officer. He's a waste of blasted time here. I tell you, Dominic, look, we know what we have to do. We are on the ground. We will talk to the people. We will get them energized. We will tell them the truth. And we will denounce racism in this country because we want to work together with our African, Indian, Syrian, all our brothers and sisters to develop and continue to develop this country. Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, big up to you. Minister Stuart Young, big up to you, and all the ministers in the PNM. I go.
Thank you, Jen. Mr. Chance, good morning. Hello? Hello, Mr. Chance? Hello?
Hello, Dominic.
Yes, sir. Morning.
How are you doing? Good. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Back onto the air. Like Jenny said, we are not waiting. You don't have to wait on no privy council. You don't wait on anything. You already know that what is in the DNA, what is in their basic character is lying, teasing, being unpatriotic, and as Jenny made the point, spreading hate. And that's why I want to come in. Lying. You mentioned the point that they told the senior citizens, I hope the senior citizens are listening, that they will get their pension at age 60. When the time came, as you quite rightly said, there was a misprint. Pig Panther to sing a calypso called Misprint. And that was for over hundreds of big thousand pensioners there. And I want to focus my attention on this business of hating. And that is what we have to go to the polls about. When we go to this is not a local government election, we have 2 general elections back to back. I want to say it again. There is no local government election in my view. There are 2 general elections. And we have to send a very powerful message to the UNC because they are spreading too much hate. Jenny made a point about stand your ground. I want to endorse it and repeat it. And they made it very clear. That's Sapna Mirage who made that statement on East West Corridor. Do you know who is the man that took the matter to the court in the Privy Council? When we were talking about guidelines for COVID-19, he's the face of the UNC, so they can't judge and get away from him. This message is resonating in the bowels of the UNC. What they intend to do with the people on the East-West corridor is hate. And that hate will be demonstrated with the stand your ground law. And when you connect the stand your ground law, what Kamala said, she's going to make it easier for people to get guns. So what do you think the stand your ground law? Who are the people on the East-West corridor? Not the Orioles? Not those that slave masters' name? Not those with hard-headed that she called the people to Mapuna? So this election is more important to the people of the East-West corridor. Because Kamala says as soon as she gets into power, she's going to bring the stand your ground law and she's going to make it easier for people to get guns. So when they get the gun, they will stand their ground, and as you make a mistake, they will stand their ground and they'll use it as a defense. And it will be a defensive law. So that's the issue in this election. You have to protect yourself and your family because they can always use stand your ground as a defense. And as you know, they went to the court and they got bail for murderers. The UNC did that. Giant Media was came that. So when you connect all these things, who's the target? Not you, the people in the East-West corridor. Not you, the people with slave master names. Not you who are Oreos. Not you who are black and black men. Take your time. This election is about stand your ground law and hate. You have to get rid of that. And you go to the polls because it's 2 elections. We don't want no part. This is election time.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Dominic.
Thank you, sir. Well said. Well said. This is a general election, and trust me, the supporters of the UNC are going to be treating this local government election like a general election. They're going to come out in the numbers. Yeah? So, PRM better know what they are about. Let me see. Hello, good morning. Good afternoon, sir.
Hey, good afternoon, Dominic. How are you?
Greetings. I am good.
Any program? Good programming, good editorial. Yeah, we can look for that so-called social media officer. I think that he needs to take a back step. Dominic, you know
Yes,
really
sir.
good to me. You know this banner? It's a couple of weeks ago. The main talk was about human trafficking and the alleged UNC member involved in human trafficking. Am I correct?
Yes.
Right. Then the conversation switched again. It jumped. It changed from the PIACO project. And then it changed with Dr. Rowley, Dr. Rowley receiving his doctorate. That was a big issue. And now that the conversation changed now for local government election. But you know, this gentleman who went to become this Mr. Balgman, why is it that he didn't go to the Chief Council? What the THA is now, the present THA, that's if they could dissolve THA and plan new election. Why is it that person didn't do that?
He not
You think
interested.
that he should have do that? Go on do that, Dominic?
Yeah, well, that's Ram Logan's proxy, you know, so he not interested.
Well, yeah, of course. But he said that he's not aligned to the UNC. That's what he said.
Yeah.
That's all for the trip. And that is why when I listen to all these so-called logical thinkers saying that the government call election, they forget that the lady who was the prime minister, she extended the government from 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days. Like people forget that. And this is not the first time local government election was delayed.
Correct.
Remember, it was delayed during the days of Mr. Parliament with the local government reform. So people seem to have memory loss. So you have a good day. I think people are really choose a struggle. That's what I have to say. Choose a struggle. Before they want to take the government to court with local government election, well, maybe people should take the THA to court and find out when Mr. Ferguson should resolve THA and call election because you went under PP.
Yes.
And you went independent and from TPP, which I consider an offshoot of the TOP, a remnant of the People's Partnership. Right?
Yes.
So, where these so-called elections who just very well hear what? You dissolve THA because you from your own party and call elections. I will listen on that one.
Thank you. You too. Good afternoon.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Just go there, Dominic.
Yeah, I say, but this calling segment is happy.
Yes.
Anyway, I get it. I don't have to only the online viewers on Facebook and YouTube. And nice to have you back, man. But
yes.
Here is another thing. You see, this whole Privy Council ruling that the opposition is up in arms and they claiming victory. They're gonna use that as a political tool, right, to hoodwink the population from knowing the actual truth that took place in that ruling. Right? And I'm glad that you would have put it up. You would have put it up. So the six judges were in support of the government and the other three. Although they had the UNC operating and they would have piggyback on those three to give the population a perception that hey, here it is. The pre-government rule and government would have had the coalition now. You understand? But as I say, people in this country have to know exactly what they want because the right is that they want to know. If the appointed man, if they take one of the thought and they provide these people, this country is going to be in a dilemma. You understand? You see, the opposition creates a racial tension right now in this country that it's okay for East Indians to call African whatever they please and how they like. And as Jenny would have read when the doctor who would have got suspended for a week commencing on June 1st. So I want to know in my mind, right, Dominic, that if you suspend somebody from June 1st, right, and today is the 21st of May, what is going on in the 11 days leading up to June 1st? Is he still practicing?
Yes.
That is my point exactly. So I think that the medical board, should be a bit more compassionate and not being one-sided. If you suspend somebody, suspend them with immediate
Eric,
they should commence of the day wherever it took place until the investigation.
They were compassionate. No, they gave him enough time for him to be able to choose where he wants to spend the 1 week vacation, so he can book a flight.
Right? And then next thing to the Chicago. And they have these, I could have already been able to today the news day, right? It has some lawyers to support this man and say how that the action that the medical board of Chicago found that is very unjustified. And here who the lawyers now? One of them is being searched. That's not my point exactly. So it's well and okay for people of East Indian to denigrate African people in this country. And it has nothing come on it. But when we started jam them, they would have cried victim and play victim. But Dominic, as people, the information is out on Facebook, on the Mountain UNC Live. A little go out there, a little read the information from Kohala, these come right back down to pressure. Right? Good program, Dominic. I love listening.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Hello.
Good afternoon to you, Mr. Romain.
Good day, sir.
It is good to see you, sir.
Indeed, good to be back.
Nick, I remember when this hotel was supposed to be built, and that was supposed to build this hotel in Tobago.
Yes.
And Dominic, the shameful thing that was being said and done to prevent this from happening. Perpetuated lies. And I always remembered what the head of Sandal said when he saw something in our papers and the international media. He said, you see me, I have a reputation to maintain. I don't deserve this. I am gone. And I always remembered that Kamala Pushwati, Sushila Prasad Bitesa said, I am pleased. She was happy that Tobago and Tobagonians, that Sandals did not put down that. Today, look at the kind of money you spoke about on this program, you could imagine if that was held in Tobago today.
Yes.
You think you'll be here? The THS secretary talking about you have to get more money and they're supposed to get 6.9%. They never get 6 point. You think you'll be talking about those things today? He would have been busy collecting money because Sanders would have been busy ensuring that a lot of other things would have been held in Tobago. They wouldn't have time with Trinidad money. But today I had to sit up, and you know what is fearful, and Mr. Chance is correct, you know. This is not just a local government, you know. This is a two general election. I'll tell you why I'm saying that too, why I have to agree with Mr. Chance. When I sit down to look at a joint select committee with the commissioner of police and a man who before the court who they mentioned 113 times asking her questions, I am fearful. Sitting down, you before the court, you know. You before the court. This one could arrest you anytime. You before the court. No matter. Because Justice Aboud made his recommendation in 2020 just before the general election. And you sitting down there asking the commissioner of police questions. When I hear a wannabe prime minister saying that we should take those same Venezuelans and give them very good jobs so that they could pay taxes. When do you begin to pay taxes when you're working in this country, Dominic? From what salary? Where salary at today? It had to be over 7,500.
Yes.
But,
yes.
But Dominic, who's going to get those type of jobs, Dominic? She is saying, give it to them. Let them pay NIS, Dominic. Dominic, tell me for long, you know. If you're paying NIS, and you must have an ID card, Dominic.
Yeah.
And if you have an ID card, what does that mean, Dominic? You have to be a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. And if you have Trinidad and Tobago, what does that mean? And they could vote, Dominic.
Correct.
It's not about votes, Dominic. The same lady who was castigating this government and saying the porous borders, people coming through the porous borders, and all this trying to help them Venezuelans because they're looking for work. Like that the same person, Dominic, that said that at one time.
Yes, and that the Venezuelans coming to compete with Chinese for their jobs.
And compete with us for the major jobs, Dominic, in the country.
Yes.
Dominic, I am fearful. I have to listen to people telling my prime minister, Tobagonian, mind your blasted business. But want him to intervene. Because when all your fishermen go, all you can't get flying fish because the major fishermen think, how come nobody then calls Farley to intervene? How come? The same Farley who tell the prime minister, mind your blasted business. How come they're not calling on the THS chief secretary to intervene? Well, they find it too weak. They find you don't have enough gumption to talk to the prime minister of Barbados. Really? Dominic, we have to be faithful and we have to be careful. And Trinidadians must get them off their lazy butt and understand that our country's well-being and the well-being of our children and grandchildren is at stake. And we must vote for these two elections that are coming up without let hindrance or favor. We must get up and vote. Dominic, I want to thank you very much. Fantastic show. Please do continue.
Yes,
sir. And all is well with you, my friend.
Indeed.
Have a good day.
You too. Seven 1763. See. Well, it's not morning. Afternoon, Andy.
Dominic?
Yes, ma'am.
Just saying hi. I'm watching you.
All right. Hello. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir.
Caller from here.
Greetings.
Greetings. I want to say something concerning what you had said earlier on in your program. Not a lot of time, and I want to say something. Remember, you were dealing with the part where you were talking about the pitch rate, right?
Yes.
And how these people just spread these propaganda lies, and they're spreading it for years, and people just continue saying it. I don't know if you could remember how can you find the point that how these people just talk so much nonsense, and people couple up that, right? Because we just talk, people just talk any kind of foolishness, and we go do research, we don't take time to go back in history and check and stuff like that. You remember, these are the same people for years who tell me, I don't know if you remember that, telling me that how Dr. William's daughter wanted to tell them Trinidad and Tobago money.
Yeah,
you remember that?
Yeah, to pay off the country debt.
Tell me that is not, I mean, a little child who at certain age could tell you that is really nonsense. So, how I let the Dr. William child at a young age that I want to learn Trinidad and Tobago money? People could really talk crap for you really treat, and you look at people who believe in it, who used to be repeating that nonsense. I used to tell people, what kind of nonsense for the talking about? And you know, and people who you believe to have education used to be talking that nonsense. You know?
Yes.
Yeah, and the one is really easy, you know. like when Kamala make the point about you remember when they was building the Serpent Pass?
Yes.
Interchange? You remember that they had fallout for that and thing, and they remember they didn't build because they had some falling out, but you remember the money that is. When this government would decide to build it, you know what Kamala said to the public, and you know I want to know the public if we ship it, they should be ship it. And there are people who doesn't pick up on that bicycle, they'll probably see something they were going to pick up. She said that, oh, I'm going to build it because he land passed me. Remember, she bring it on there last night.
Yeah.
She land was pretty awesome. Yeah, all this kind of nonsense, and we just need it. And you know, people like Kingsley and the following these people talking these nonsense. I want to tell me that how them is the best thing after that as well.
Yes.
Something has to be wrong with you, boy. This someone has talk too much rubbish and nonsense and bright people, so-called bright people listening to she and repeat it. Yeah, I tell her supervisor by me, like so vocal as we can. Was repeating that the next day, you know, that she want to pass the thing there because he land passed away.
Yes.
And I had to deal with she, you know, she was sitting there, but I look at I said, well, she and bring it on there in that time when she fall out with them because the amount of money they wanted to spend it. Nonsense. You know, that's the kind of people we have in this country. And I thank you for educating me on this part, the last part you bring with the local election. And I to show how they, every time they think, it looks like the way they're running and opening them out and making you feel well, they're doing something like another city big, open out as a talk and nonsense. And they don't make it, I don't like these people who supporting the UNC. There's a law and Roberts to be claimed. Listen to them with the children already talking this kind of rubbish. You understand? Yes. And only to come out of these people. Thank you, Dominic, for allowing me this contribution. I'll listen off here.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, you had to listen on your phone.
Dominic.
Yes, sir.
Dominic.
Yes, sir. Is that Mr. Leave there?
Are you breaking up so up there?
I heard you loud and clear, sir.
When people call me and tell me how they're calling in to get to allow me on your program.
Really? You welcome, man.
This is the ground report or what?
Yeah.
But don't what you head. I find your program.
Yes.
I get your number.
Right.
So I'll be locked onto your program from now on.
Thank you.
And let them see what they want.
All right.
I will leave it here.
Thank you, sir. All right, so I see it's 1:22, so I'll take a few more. We'll wrap up at 1:30. So yeah, I think we have time, another 8 minutes. So let's see who we have. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. 749. I don't know what happened there. You call me back. Let's see. Hello, good afternoon. Okay, I don't know what's going on. Let's see. Hello, good afternoon.
Hey, Dominic, good afternoon.
Greetings.
I just take this opportunity to call you.
Yes,
to
ma'am.
congratulate you, man, for the information that you're sharing on the YouTube around the world.
Yes.
That your information is factual.
Thank you.
There's no Cambridge Analytica.
Yes.
Right? We thank you for keeping us abreast with what's happening and what the government is doing. The government is doing a lot. And we are supporting the government. We will continue to support it. We hope the people will continue to see the good work that the government is doing.
Yes.
Also, with that judgment that passed there, no body constitution was affected.
Yes.
In that of to vote, Dominic, right? That decision did not affect the citizens. It didn't take on the citizens' rights. So, as President Biden has told the Prime Minister, thanks for in this region, the Caribbean, for imposing a democratic right for citizens to keep the democratic system afloat. Right? I mean, so again, I hope the people will continue to give Dr. Rowley support that he needs.
Yes.
Because we need them at this time to take our country flying high. All right? I mean, a good program. I continue to listen to you every Sunday.
Thank you, sir.
God bless you, man.
Yeah, man. Time there. So, see here what's happening. Hold on, Eric. Let me just switch this here. Right. Yes, sir. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, right. No, I know. I had a point about it, right? Because you know me, you know me very well, huh?
Yes.
Right? No. I heard Akola calling just now, right? He's known as Leave It There.
Yes.
No, I got a problem with Leave It There calling in and having contribution. But when you see this live Leave It There is not Street 919 radio station, right? So when you come here, you're coming here with valuable contribution or else don't come at all. Because we want to sit down and put up with that foolishness. You're calling Aisha program with every day and come here with that same rhetoric. Right? Because we're going to make you out. Right? I don't have a problem with you calling and having a contribution, but it must be valuable. That's what I have to say. Dominic and Lupton and be safe, brother.
Yes, boss. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay, I don't know what happened there. All right. So it's 2:23. So, folks, let me just say thank you all for joining me. I think I'm having an issue there with the Facebook. So, thank you all. All right. Let me just take this one quick one and then we'll wrap it up. Hello. Good afternoon.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dominic.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Dominic,
yes,
I have to say something. I would like you to come down one of these days and check the recreation ground in Irving Park first and have a look at it and see what's going on.
Okay.
I would like it to that. I know you're a busy man. I think you would like to have some redress because you see, where I live here in the area, we get nothing. I'm not only speaking about me. It's real. What should I say? Our area is nasty. It stinks. You call, they say, but the opposition leaders from the constituency Superior. We are not the constituency at Superior. David, Tina, that's the constituency. And I keep saying that because I am frustrated. This morning I went to the market.
Right.
That new market that they built. And I want you to come and look on there. They don't want you to go in because they have a septic tank. For weeks now, you can't pass. You have to go through this one place in the market and then to get around on the other side.
Right.
And you have to reverse to go back out the main gate. Dominic, I am asking you, please. I know we have no social welfare to be paying. Forget fees. Because I was saying he have enough on the plate, he should have never taken up that position.
Right.
Organize and get somebody because all right, we will open next time.
Yes.
We would be, because I am one of the persons who was the first person in a form to ask you, why don't you go up?
Yes. Yes.
Right? Because
yes.
I don't know if it's my name, but I'm the person with you all the time. I don't listen to the program on 91.9 anymore. Thursday and Tuesday, I don't.
Right.
I laugh. Now, this is not something to laugh at. But I always say, no, they say they really have karma. You so doesn't like so. Because we could have done it differently. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
We could have, because I was hurt the way they treated you. We could have done it differently. You understand what I'm saying? But it's the radio. Senior I'm going to be 75 years to say. Right?
Yes.
And I tell you, from 16 years I've been on the ground working. I don't want nothing from them. And they give me free education and I embrace it. Mature and embrace it. Right?
Yes.
And I'm saying, you see young people who today sit down and say, the government give me this and they give me that. It's time for us to stop that nonsense. I do without a mother and a father, Dominic. And I'm saying, what you are telling us, I hope young children will listen and take this advice. Because you're a young man, you're not old.
Yes.
But you do research and you're not lying. Talking the cross, tell truth. Because I live in this area for all my lifetime. Right? From 3 months I myself, I live here. And do nothing. You know what I do? I will like the corporation and they drop in material for people who look like them.
Yes.
They fix certain parts of the area who look like them. We can't afford to have that. And you know, when we lost that thing in the Privy Council, it kind of hurt my heart because I'm telling myself we're gonna live with this, like we're gonna live with this all day. Because since I know myself, you get paid what they call this area supplier has never been in it never has been in government.
Right.
It was the no pay, the no campaign, no. Is when we and we have seen nothing. Nothing is by the pavement, high and low. It looks like it. It all look nasty.
Wow.
Now I'm not saying that because I live in an area. I'm saying to young people, these are what we will care. To me, this is what we expect when we have that government back and forward.
Yes.
Have a nice day, Dominic, and thanks for listening to me. I listen to you all the while. I'm going to stay for a few days, but whenever I come from the market, I put you on.
Right.
Have a nice day, Peter.
You too.
That we need to get that septic tank, a new market.
Yes.
To have a septic tank or the septic problem.
Right.
That should be fixed already going on 2 months now, or 3 months or so. Have a nice day, darling.
You too.
Thank you for listening.
No problem. Thank you. So that's it there for us, folks. Yeah, we've gone to 1:30, so as always, it was a pleasure. But I mean, I was off for last week, so yeah, we were able to go a little extra this morning. But thank you again for joining us, and yeah, most likely Tuesday. But I will listen to the Monday night forum tomorrow night, and based on what is said, I'll let you all know on Tuesday morning if it is that. Well, Monday night, yeah, if it is we are coming on Tuesday morning, right? So again, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your rainy weekend, and we will chat again in a couple of days' time. So I'm out. Thank you so much.